BoxBox Hub is an absolute essential for any Formula One fan, and the entire app with new widgets, statistics, localized race schedules, and countdowns, you name it. They even have support for Apple's new live activities feature with real-time updates during a race right on the lock screen, and honestly, some of the best looking widgets I've seen.
Welcome along, everybody. We are here in the 100% league for the penultimate round of the season, and it is a very gloomy Silverstone then for the the penultimate race then of the season before we get to Brazil. Sorry, we go for the final race next week then. So looking forward to then seeing what the drivers can do here tonight. Then welcome to the stream. Welcome to everybody then who is on track. Then good luck to all the drivers then on track as well. Looking forward to seeing an exciting race then from the 20 drivers then on the grid here tonight. Then Jenna is setting ourselves underway for the start of this Grand Prix, start of this qualifying, I should say, on the medium compact tyres. Then is the Mercedes driver then looking to turn around his form here tonight. Then good stuff indeed. Then so we've got 2 more races left of the 100% league season. Only 3 left, of course, off all the 3 divisions as well. Then so it's getting to the tail end now of the season, and I think. With F1 24 coming out a bit earlier, then we've got a bit of time in between as well. Then, so that'll be good stuff indeed. So looking forward to that one. Actually, I've seen. I can't remember who it was now. I think it was Sick as Muck then who was messaging me about the updates for the new game. And looking forward to the new handling model and the new ERS and all of that sort of stuff. It looks like it could be quite interesting. Then, as Gina then is going very wide then at the Cops corner, and unfortunately. He has had an issue going wide then at the section before Magnussen is then flying through now onto the hangar straight. As good luck to all the guys since Rocket Lisa then in the comment section, of course, had a bit of a difficult race last night in bronze, did Rocket Lisa, but looking very strong in qualifying. So hopefully he can keep that momentum going forward into the final 3 races then for bronze. That is last night, but of course we are here now in Britain then for the 100% league, and this is the penultimate round of the season, then the last but one. As Jenna then sets ourselves underway then. Sick as Muck unfortunately hasn't validated his time. He's not going to get a time on the board on this occasion. We will see what he can do then in the next few stages. Then 14 minutes left of qualifying here. Good luck and hello to me. Which is nice. Unfortunately, New Zealand Cam hasn't validated his time. He's not going to be able to set a time on the board here on his first run. Hassel then has done 28.9 then in the Ferrari, then in P2, well, up to P2 I should say, then for his first outing. The Camaro racer then with 27.0 then on the soft compact tyres in the Alpine, setting ourselves underway really with the fastest soft compact tyre time so far. Coop has done 27.1 then. He's not too far off the Alpine as it stands. Let's have a look and see who's next across the line. RNG Ruck then is reserving in place of Gorda, the champion, of course, who was crowned last week in China, I forgot to say, as Kiki then 26.3, then that is 7/10 faster than Kamara Racer currently. Here comes RNG Ruck then up into P5 then with a 28.3 then to set himself underway, as we've got a few more drivers then round the corners now. Unfortunately for VT10 Ultra, he's got the wrong set of tyres on, so I'm not quite sure what's going on there for the Williams car. He is reserving tonight in place of X Game, and then Vesio has unfortunately validated his time. We'll have to come back to him. Kaidel's having a bit of a trek then over the grass, it looks like, towards sector 2. They're not quite sure where the Alpine is going there. That Kiki then sets pole position as it stands then, with still time on the board for other drivers to improve. 26.3 then is the time to beat so far in this qualifying then. Good stuff indeed. RTB up into P5 with a 28.0 then. That is good stuff from the Haas driver, who's turned around his fortunes then in the Haas. It is a very difficult car to drive, to be fair. It's quite a difficult car to drive then, but R2B then has had a few issues then in that Haas, but he has got some good podiums as well under his belt. Keeping it clean and consistent, as is the mantra then of the R2 beat then. So good stuff indeed from the Haas driver then, currently in P5 then. A VT10 Ultra is in the 32.1 on these intermediate compound tyres. Interesting stuff indeed. Unfortunately for Vessia, he's invalidated this time again then, and oh dear, there's a Williams car behind him there. Hopefully he can get himself out of the way of that Williams car. Don't know if that's on a flying lap or not then. Kaidel is not on a flying lap yet, but he might be on a flying lap. No, he's coming back to the pit lane. Never mind that, ignore that. So unfortunately for Kaidel, he's coming back to the pits, and same for RNG Ruck, who's finished his first time on the board. We are going to get cracking here, I think, already in Silverstone. And I think there's a few drivers then coming back out on second outlaps then. Vessia, and there's a Williams right behind him. I think a VT10 Ultra, who's the only other Williams on track at the moment, then, who are just coming back to the pit lane here, I think. I would imagine anyway, because it looks like the fuel light flashing away then on the McLaren. Equaz then starting off his first flying lap here in Silverstone. Of course, Equaz currently he's in the top 3 of the standings. He's been displaced from P2 by Kiki, who's done a great job then in the last few races, then getting some good results in the Mercedes, and currently on pole position as well, looking strong here. But Equaz then, who's been displaced by Kiki, they're down to P3 in the standings, but still in the top 3 as it stands. Will there be some changes here tonight? Then we'll have to wait and see. What can Equaz do? Come purple in Sector 1. That's good stuff indeed for the Alfa Romeo driver. Restart the stream, says Serious Mushroom. There's no earlobe. Unfortunately, I am not in a state to put the camera on. Put it that way. It might be on for the interviews, but not for the stream, unfortunately, because I don't want that broadcast to your screens, because you'll be dying of fright then if you saw me right now. But yeah, unfortunately, I've just come back in from work. I'm still wearing my nice work shirt, except I've got pot noodles stains down the front of it already because I had a quick pot noodle before I started. So that's that then. There's an Alfa Romeo then of, I think that is the Alfa Romeo then of Sam B. Green, trying to give a tow then to Equaz down the back straight and then in towards Stowe Corner. And now let's see if Equaz can get himself a competitive time on the board. Then I'm sure he can. We've seen what he can do then in gold. We've seen what he can do in previous 100% races as well. Then let's see what he can do here on his first lap here tonight then in Silverstone. Up into P2, then 26.7 then for the Alfa Romeo. That's great stuff indeed, and that's just where he wants to be then to rival Kiki. If he wants to rival Kiki, that is, for the top 3 positions then in the standings. Then Farf up into P5 of 27.2 for Farf, then into P5 in the hatch. Good stuff indeed. That's 8 tenths faster than his teammate currently. And he's unfortunately Moomin. Where's Moomin gone? Moomin is retired in the pit then. I think he's left the session as well then. So unfortunately for Moomin, that is him out of qualifying and out of the race, unless he can get himself back in. He's still got time to get himself back into the session. Sam B. Green then is flying through into the Luffield complex of corners, and he is in the other Alfa Romeo. I think he might have got a nice tow from his teammate then down towards Sector 2. We'll wait and see. There we are then. Right, good stuff indeed. So here we go then. Sam B. Green, there's all sorts of shenanigans going on. I think we've got some sort of technical issues, so hopefully we can get that sorted before the end of qualifying. Or before we get back into the car that is in qualifying. Still got 9 minutes left in the second. Sam B. Green then flying down the back straight purple in Sector 2. Let's see if we can hold that through into Sector 3 as well. Then into Stowe Corner we go then for the second Alfa Romeo car, of course, reserving in place of somebody. I can't remember who it is now, to be fair, unfortunately, for whoever that is. Very sorry, but yeah, we'll remember your name one day. But Sam B. Green then in the Alfa Romeo, then up to the line. What's it going to be? It's P4, then a 27.1, then very close indeed for the Alfa Romeo drivers, then up in P2 on the front row and P4 on the second row of the grid. Then that is looking good indeed so far. Kamara Racer is back out on track. We've got some more action coming up to the line. Let's see if New Zealand Cam can complete a lap. Then he's coming through into the final corner. He's done a time then of 27.4, but I think he was having a few issues then through the final corner. Moomin has joined back then, so that is good news. I think if it's assist sorted, if it's assist levels, then you just need to just change that in the main menu. Then you don't have to worry about leaving and rejoining the session. Then Jinner up into P2, his first time on the soft compound tyres, 26.6 then from the second Mercedes. Then both of the Mercedes now locking out the front row as it stands and looking quite good at that as well. It looks like it's Jinner off the circuit and getting out the way of the cars coming through into turns 2 and 3. Pascal then in P9 as it stands as well, then into Sector 2, sorry, here we go. Yellow flags, and I think for a car just getting out of the way in the background, then it's just sick as muck then, who's done a time of a 27.5 and into the top 10 as it stands as well. Then good stuff from him. RNG Ruck is back out on circuit, then we'll see what RNG Ruck can do, but we've got some more action further up the order, I think. No, that's Bessia on an out lap then, so Bessia then is not currently on course yet. Kydell's crossed the line then to a 28.5 then for the Alpine driver, the first time on the board then for the Alpine driver tonight. Good stuff indeed. Up right in the box, says Serious Mushroom. I think he's I think Serious Mushroom trying to help out then with the problems that Moomin is sorting out. Then I think hopefully now he's back in the session, he has sorted that situation, and good stuff indeed. Orangey Ruckman finishing off the lap, then he's gone over the curbs, then into Vale now. Let's see what he can do round the club corner, then into the final part of the lap. Then here he comes across the line, then it's a 27.7. He's improved by half a second then, which is much more impressive. But unfortunately he stays P11, we're down to P11, V12 I should say, then we've got VT10 Ultra on the soft compound tyres up into P7 now with a 27.2, but we've had Lucas Percy jump up the order then to 26.6, which puts him P3 then on the second row of the grid as it stands as well, ahead of Equaz as well. Then that is one of his challenges then, of course, for that top three positions. Then of course there's Lucas Percy, there's Kiki, Equaz, Serious Mushrooms involved in that as well then, but unfortunately Serious Mushroom doesn't qualify, so that's a bit of a problem for Serious Mushroom then. Up to the line then for Vintage, and 27.8 then for the Red Bull driver. Good stuff indeed then. Kaido coming back to the pit lane then after finishing off his first lap time. Here comes B Vessia. No, it's B Vessia. He's coming through into Vale now as well. Then let's see what the McLaren driver can do his first time on the board here. This will be... And through club corner we go up to the line. It's P2 then with a fantastic lap indeed. 26.6 from the McLaren. Splits the Mercedes then. And Gina down to the second row of the grid then with that McLaren's time. Then great stuff indeed onto the front row of the grid then for Vessia. Looking strong indeed, but still Kiki then with a fantastic lap time. 0.3 of a second faster than anybody else as it stands. Looking very strong out there in the Mercedes so far. VT10 I think is coming back to the pit lane, and so he's done a good job in his first outing here. Vintage coming back as well I should say. Then R2B is back out on circuit then. 28.0 to beat then for the Haas. Let's see what he can do then in towards sector 2. He is half a tenth up this time. It is half a tenth, not half a second. But he is half a tenth up nonetheless, and that is improving on his time currently. Not enough to improve on his position as it stands, but there's still 2 sectors to go then for the Haas driver as we go through the old start-finish straight and down towards the old Kermond, which now, of course, is Copse Corner then. It's a very nice place to go side by side, as we found out a few seasons ago then in real life F1 then. Not so much really, but if that was a joke, I should say, you need to learn the sarcasm then of this old man in the commentary box then. But there we go then. R2B unfortunately invalidating through Maggots of Beckett's, then that has unfortunately caused him to abandon his time, and he will be coming back into the pit now I think. So that is that. They're going to be all quiet on track then before the drivers then start off their final runs. Then I think Kamara Racer is already on his final run. And oh, I don't know what's going on. I think there's all sorts of issues then for Moomin, who's unfortunately he's retired the car, but I'm not sure he intended to do that, so maybe the game just did that for him, so that's helpful. But there we go. Kamara Racer then into Maggots and Beckett's then for his second attempt here. Let's see what the Alpine can do. Can he improve on P6 currently in between the 2 Alfa Romeos, and he is slotted in there, but can he get himself freed then from their clutches as we go into the hangar straight then? Just over 1/10 of a second improvement, then that would put him, it would keep him where he is at, unfortunately, as Moomin has rejoined again then, so I'm not quite sure I didn't even see Moomin leave again, so I'm not sure what's going on there for Moomin. But either way, he needs to get himself into the session or not in the session, either way, before the race starts, because either way, if you can't get yourself in the car, then you can't take the race start. Improved then by almost 0.2 of a second then for Kamara Racer, but he stays P6 for the time being. He has improved into the 26.9s then for the Alpine. Good stuff indeed so far. Then R2B is back out on circuit. R2B is flying through Copse then. He has kept it all together then this time. Through that corner then, very easy to run wide and validate your time, but he has not done it this time, which is good stuff indeed. Then into Maggots and Beckett's. That car is twitching as we go through the S's section then as well. Very nicely done indeed. Then almost 0.8 of a second improvement then for R2B. That is fantastic. If he can hold it all together, then he would cross the line and improve all the way up into the top 10 as it stands then. But can he keep it together through Stowe? Yes, he can. Then in towards Vale and Club. Let's see what the Haas driver can do now as he goes heavy on the brakes and into the left-hander, then onto the right-hander as well, then through the club corner. And what will it be then for the Haas driver as he crosses the line then to finish almost a second faster? He's up into P7. That's a fantastic improvement then from R2B then. Almost a second improvement then on his second attempt as well. And very good stuff indeed, into the top 10 easily, but into the top 7 now for R2B then, looking very strong then in the Haas. Then he just there's a few drivers then I think just out on their next laps then to finish off the qualifying here. 2 minutes left of the session then. R2B I think is done and dusted in qualifying here. He's not going to have enough time to come back round, come back into the pits and go back out again then, is he? So I think that might be R2B's qualifying finished here, but so far so good then. It stands for P7 at the moment. Kamara Razor has retired in the pit, and I think he is done and dusted in qualifying. He is in P6 as it stands, and not going to be coming back out again then to start off another lap then. So Kamara Racer out of qualifying in the pit lane. He has done 2 attempts in qualifying. He's done a 26.9 then for his fastest time. Puts himself P6 then for the time being, but can anybody behind him displace the Alpine car? We will wait and see. VT10 Ultra then flying down the old start-finish straight, then into Copse Corner, then flying through, then over the curbs, then knocking me hat off as well. Then as we go flying into that very fast-paced corner as well, then into Maggots and Beckett's, then making sure you get the entry points right as well. Then that will help you keep the speed then through the next complex of corners, or through the next corner as well. Then onto the hangar straight, then DRS enable. Then as we fly down towards Stowe Corner. And Goku has said, get a room. As I think there's a few people then enjoying a nice romantic getaway then very soon. So there we are. Here comes VT10 then into the Vale Corner then and into Club. Let's see. This is going to be a final attempt, I think, here. Fuel light flashing away. Then here comes VT10 up to the line. It's P7. He's improved then by 2.5 tenths almost, then into P7 then for the Williams car. Good stuff indeed. A good improvement as well to put him further into the top 10 as it stands as well. Then good stuff overall. Then we've got a few more people on outlaps. I think Lucas Percy then, where is the Sam B. Green then, and Vessia then just starting off their laps. We'll have a look and see what Farth is up to, because he is next across the line, I think. As into Stowe Corner goes the Haas car. Can he improve? Can he beat his teammate like he did on his first attempt? Then into Stowe Corner we go, flying through then in the Haas, then down towards the Vale chicane it's called, really, but it's not really a chicane, to be fair. It's a couple complex of corners, really. Into the last corner of Club then, and up to the line. Then it's P7. Then he displaces his teammate down to P9 then, but a 26.977 then puts himself ahead of VT10 Ultra as it stands as well. Then great lap time indeed then from Farth. We will see Equaz coming around the final corner now as well. Here comes Equaz then up to P4. Then he's improved by just under a tenth of a second. Then into P4. Then onto the second row of the grid as it stands as well. Then Mercedes of Gira is back in the pit lane, abandoning his previous time. He is done and dusted in qualifying here. We've got no more action in the pit lane as well. Then I think we've got an Alpine then parking his car back in the pits as well. Then of Kaidel. Then he's up into P12. Here comes Coop then up to the line. Then what can Coop do? It's P6 for Coop. Then 26.6 as well. Then Kiki has gone faster still. Then into the 25s now. 25.9 then from Kiki. That is fantastic stuff indeed. Then New Zealand Cam up into P3 with a 26.5 and puts himself on the second row of the grid. Then Vessia then has got something to say about that, I'm sure. Hassau's jumped up to P6 in the Ferrari. Here comes Lucas Percy, sorry. 2.5 tenth improvement. That will put him in the range of the front row of the grid then, if he can hold it all together. And here comes Lucas Percy then into the final corner, then up to the line. It is 26.3. Puts himself on the front row of the grid. Then Vessia can say something about that, though. What can Vessia do then as he comes around into Club as well? Then up to the line, it's P2. He takes it away then from Lucas Percy. Then 26.1 then from the McLaren, then puts him on the front row of the grid. Great stuff indeed. Then VT10 Ultra just coming back to the pit lane here. No, he's not. He's coming back around the final couple of corners then to finish off the qualifying here. But Kiki is your pole sitter then for the British Grand Prix that we started in just a few minutes time then. Fantastic qualifying indeed then. Can they keep it all together for the race? 52 laps to come here, and we'll have to wait and see if the clouds are going to come as well then. Looks like it's been very cloudy over the qualifying, but whether it will stay for the race we will find out then. Kiki takes pole position, then Vessia in P2, Lucas Percy in P3, Jenner in P4, then you've seen in Cam P5, Equaz in P6, then Hassau P7, Coop in P8, then Sam B. Green in P9, and Kamara rounds off the top 10 in P10, in the Alpine I should say. Then Farth P11, then VT10 in P12, then R2 Beat P13, Kaidel P14, Vintage P15, Sickers Muck P16, RNG Ruck in P17. Unfortunately, Moomin, I'm not sure if he's in the session or not, but he's down in P18 then after not setting a time. The same for Hungry Styles and Serious Mushroom in P19 and P20 respectively.
BoxBox Hub is an absolute essential for any Formula One fan, and the entire app with new widgets, statistics, localized race schedules, and countdowns, you name it. They even have support for Apple's new live activities feature with real-time updates during a race right on the lock screen, and honestly, some of the best looking widgets I've seen.
Right, then we are ready to get started, or you will be ready to get started very soon, then waiting for the drivers then to confirm their strategies, their fuel loads, their whatever they want to confirm before we get ourselves racing here in Silverstone. 52 laps to come here, as it's going to be a very fast-paced race, I would imagine, coming up in the next few minutes or few seconds time, hopefully. Waiting for the drivers just to confirm their setups and everything, get ready to get going here in Silverstone. Then it's still looking very cloudy overhead then, so we'll have to wait and see if there's going to be some rain afoot in the race then, potentially over the 52 laps. Then we might see something. We will have to wait and see, but there we are. Then we are lining up then on the grid then to start ourselves underway then for the formation lap, and we'll have a look quickly at the tyre compounds for everybody then on the grid then, starting off then with a combination of every single tyre that they could choose from. That is in terms of the dry tyres, that is, but there is a combination of everything there on the starting grid then. Soft compound tyres, medium compound tyres and hard compound tyres. There we go then. The pole sitter then, Kiki on the hard compound tyres, then Vessier and Lucas Percy then on the medium compounds, then right behind Ginner on the soft compound, his teammate then. Ginner is on the soft compound tyres in P4 then. New Zealand Cab also opting for the medium compound tyres, so both the AlphaTauri on the medium compound. Then when will they make their stops, when will they make their pit stops then to change on to another set then. If it does start to rain, then of course you don't have to use two different sets of dry compound tyres, but we'll have to wait and see what the weather is going to be doing, weather is going to be holding then around this Midland circuit then in the next 52 laps or so. Then Equaz on the soft compound in P6 looking for a fast start, then Hassel then in the Ferrari P7 on the hard compound tyres. Coupe also on the soft compounds in P8 then, so both those two looking for a very fast start indeed then. Rounding off the top 10, Sandy, Green and Kamara Racer on the medium compound tyres as well, then Farf in P11 on the hards. Then we've got VT10 and R2B on the medium compound tyres as well. Kaidel and Vintage opting for the soft compounds in P14 and P15 respectively as well. Then Sickers Muck on the hards in P16. Then RNG Ruck and moving on the medium compound tyres. And then we've got Hungry Styles and Serious Mushroom rounding off the grid on the hard compound as well then. Right then, we're ready to get started. I think we're just waiting for the drivers then to get themselves lined up on the grid then for those 5 red lights to come on here in Silverstone, and we will be cracking on then for an exciting race, I imagine. We'll have to wait and see, but it's looking like, especially if there's going to be some rainy conditions coming our way, it's looking like it could get a bit spicy indeed as well. Then we'll have to wait and see. I love a spicy Grand Prix, not so much the food, but so much of the Grand Prix then. But there we are then. Kiki then, of course, the Pulsar then lining up on the grid then as we get ourselves settled and ready to get started then for this fantastic British Grand Prix. And 100% distance of it as well then. 52 laps then here to come in Silverstone. Then let's have a look and see how it's going to go as we get ourselves underway. Then we'll switch to the position changes already then, because I completely do miss that every time we start a race, and we'll get ourselves lined up there on the grid then as well. Right then, Serious Mushroom then just taking his grid slot then, and we can get ourselves started here in Silverstone. Very loud 5 red lights. The 5 red lights coming on here in Silverstone. The 5 red lights are out here in Silverstone. Boomin's got a drive through then for jumping the start. Then a good getaway then from the McLaren of Vessier as well. Then, oh no, it's not a good getaway. The second phase then has not gone in his favour. Then he's lost traction as well. Then there's contact between an Alfa Romeo then and the McLaren. Then as he's got off the circuit then into turns 3 as well. The New Zealand Cam going around the outside of Hassel then into turn 3. We've got a McLaren still poking his nose in the background as well. Then as we go through into the Wellington Straight then, as there we go. Then Cam has lost out of place then to Hassel. Then Hassel's had a great start even on the hard compound tyres. It's not been too bad then for the Ferrari driver. Then down the inside goes New Zealand Cam, then taking back that P5 position. Then in the front, in the lead, we've got Kiki and we've got Lucas Percy battling side by side through Luffield then, and Lucas Percy has taken the lead then on the first lap of the race. Then already he's gained 2 places then up into the lead of the Grand Prix then with a fantastic start. Kydell's had an issue then at the exit of Luffield corner and trying to get that car recovered as well. Then Coupe then up into P6. Then he's got a good start then on those soft compound tyres as well. Then getting past Hassel into Cop's corner as well. Then now ahead into Maggots and Beckett as we go flying through then to complete the first lap. Then all over the back of the first Mercedes is the second Mercedes. Then Ginner is putting the pressure on his teammate as we go down the hangar straight. Then all sorts of issues then as my goodness me, then there's all sorts of contact between the 2 Mercedes as well. They need to fight fairly, fight cleanly. They are, of course, it's a team game at the end of the day. although it's not one that we've seen that often as well. Into Vale and Club we go then, and Jinner then trying to get his nose down the inside of the AlphaTauri, but can't quite do it. Then Coop and Hassel carrying on their battle then as we go through the final corner to finish off lap 1. And an epic lap 1 indeed as well. Then Moomin is in the pit lane, and unfortunately for Moomin, he's had an issue somewhere. There's no wing damage though. I think he might be serving his drive-through penalty that way. But unfortunate then for Moomin. And Kaidel has had a spin somewhere as well. Kiki has been passed by Equaz. Has he? No, he's not. Equaz on the soft compound tyres and looking to get himself past the Mercedes here into the Wellington straight. Sorry, as we fly down. Then Kiki has lost out. Then Equaz up into the podium places now. Good stuff indeed. Then Hassel and Farf then battling away. Then Farf now up into P6. Is he? Oh my goodness me! It's close indeed. There's yellow flags in the background. We've had an issue then for. A Red Bull car as Hungry Stars has had an issue somewhere in the first couple of turns, and he's lost out to Kaidel there down the order there. Hopefully they can get themselves back in this race then. Oh dear, what's that? I thought there was some teleportation going on there. Jinner and Equaz then, blimey, and Jinner's going to around the outside at Cop's corner then on Lucas Percy. Is he going to, can he hold it is the question on the soft compound tyres. Equaz is going to get himself involved as well into Maggots and Beckett's, and he's got the move done then. VT10 Ultra's had an issue somewhere at the exit of Cop's corner as well. Then he's taken the old pit exit then, which is a nice way to re-enter the track, I suppose, but unfortunately he's had some sort of issue. They're not sure if there was contact or if there was a spin for the Williams car then, but back underway he goes. Equaz then is up into P2 on the soft compound. Then he's gained 4 places on this first 2 laps now as we complete lap 2 here into Vale and Club as well. Then Lucas Percy then has dropped back down then to P3 as it stands at Kiki. Then on the hard compound tyres has dropped down as well. Coop and New Zealand Cam. Then Coop and New Zealand Cam. Then they're battling away. Then up into P5 goes the Williams car ahead now of the AlphaTauri as we go into, oh my goodness, going very wide then was New Zealand Cam. Then where's he gone? Oh, I thought he was flying off the circuit, but he's got himself back on very quickly indeed. But DRS now enabled as well here as it's dry enough for those lovely DRS flaps to open. But there we go then. Into the Wellington straight we go once again. Then DRS is going to be enabled this time. There's not going to be any DRS for Jinner. Then can he defend then from Equaz? These two need to work together really then to try and pull away then from the rest of the grid. They're on the soft compound tyre. They will be wearing out quicker, but they will have the pace then at this early stage of the Grand Prix as well. So there's benefits and negatives to the same set of tyres as you might have to figure out then if you're an F1 fan. But I think most of the people who watch this have seen a bit of an F1 race before at least. So there we go, good stuff indeed. Into Maggots and Beckett's goes Equaz this time. Can he line up a move then down the hangar straight then for the race lead on lap 3 then into Maggots and Beckett we go, almost pushing the Mercedes through the complex of corners there as well. Then DRS now available, and here he comes then on the attack and then going past Jinner as well. Is he? DRS is open then for the Alfa Romeo then, but Jinner is fighting tooth and nail then for that race lead. Then Equaz takes the place then ahead of the Mercedes and up into P1 then, up into the race lead then for the Alfa Romeo then. Good stuff indeed. Serious Mushroom and Sick as much switch places in the background then, but we can't quite take our eyes off the action at the front here as well. Then it's been epic stuff indeed then in the opening 3 laps here as Lucas Percy is holding on very nicely indeed as well then to this battling pack then. Farf and New Zealand Cam switching places then. Here comes Hassel then looking to get his nose in the interested in getting past that AlphaTauri then, but not quite then into turn 1. Has to think about it then and bide his time then, but so far so good then. A good start out there then for the majority of the grid. Unfortunately for VT10 we didn't see what happened then, but he had a spin then. Kaidel and Hungry Star was also recovering, and Moomin I don't think he's in the car unfortunately, so he had an issue then it seems like on the first lap, and that is what he had a drive-through penalty as well then unfortunately for Moomin, so that is costly indeed. Then here comes Jinner then trying to go down the inside then of Equaz into Luffield then, but Equaz now has the inside then. Can he hold it is the question then. Lucas Percy looking to wait in the wings then for any mistakes then for the 2 ahead of him as well, then trying to pounce then on anything that goes awry then for the top 2 as it stands, but they are flying through then down the main straight in towards Cop's corner. I think Jinner was trying to looking for a move then into the not very famous overtaking spot then as we've seen from Max and Lewis, but there we go then into Maggots and Beckett. We go down the Mercedes now all over the back of the Alfa Romeo. Then Rolls have reversed from the previous lap then. New Zealand Cam has done a penalty, the first penalty then of the evening as we go into Maggots and Beckett then for the AlphaTauri driver as well. Then unfortunately then for New Zealand Cam that is going to be added to his race time at the end of the 52 laps. Then out in front though, Jinner has got the move then into the race lead. Then Lucas Percy I thought was going to shape for a move as well then, but thought better of it. Jinner takes the lead then into Vale we go then once again onto lap 4 then, at the end of lap 4 I should say then, as we go through into club corner now as well. Then there's the front wing of the Alfa Romeo, then right up the diffuser of the Mercedes as we cross the line to start off at lap 5 here as well. Then no trains forming just yet. Then Kamara Racer just trying to hold on to the top line. There's another issue. Then it's for Kydell. Then Kydell's had another issue. Then somewhere at the exit of the Stowe corner there and lost the traction again. Then Vessier and Coop. Then Vessier and Coop will switch places. Then Vessier up into P5 ahead now of the Williams car. Then the Williams still sticking his nose in there though, and I think there's a bit of lag issue then for Vessier as well. Then we did see a bit of an issue. I think it was in Seoul potentially then with connection, but it might have been the lobby as well. Then we'll have to wait and see. Yeah, so we don't want to accuse anybody, of course. But there we go. Yeah, fingers crossed that is just a bit of a glitch, and we'll get that sorted and out of the way then. Done and dusted. And Ekwaz has lost out to the lead then, but they're still right behind Jin, and then for the race lead as it stands on to lap 5, then going through in towards the old turn 1 now. Kiki then holding it together then very well on the hard compound tyres, then trying to keep a gap then to Vessier who's on the medium compound tyres, but Kiki then is on the hard, so Kiki is technically the highest runner that can go the longest in this first stint then on those hard compound tyres. So we'll have to wait and see what the strategy is going to be like when they all start to unfold as well. We'll have to see which strategy is going to come out on top as well, which of course is ideal. If you're on the right strategy, then you can win the race potentially. So we'll have to wait and see who's going to be doing that then at the end of this one. Here comes Kamara Racer then down the inside of Hassel, then up into Stowe. Oh my goodness me, it's gone back down the inside, then has Hassel, then Kamara Racer is flying off the circuit then. Oh my goodness, he's almost come back on the circuit as well then. Not quite sure what happened there then, but I think he got spooked then by the Ferrari, then diving back down the inside then and retaking the place as well then. Kamara Racer dropping down the order, then he's lost out down to P16 then, and unfortunately for Kamara then he's having a bit of a struggle, it looks like, keeping that car under control. Blimey. It's been an epic five lap opener here. We've still got quite a few laps to go here in Silverstone, but nonetheless, it's been a very entertaining race so far. We've only had a few laps of it as well. Then into Luffield we go. Then Ekwaz now putting the pressure on the Mercedes of Kiki, but Lucas Percy then is waiting in the wings in the AlphaTauri. He has done a good job then so far then in this opening few laps, and to stay with the runners on the soft compound tyres, who of course are going to be much faster than off the starting order. But so far so good then for the top three, that is. They have gained a few places, and unfortunately for Kiki and Vesha they've lost out. They're on the harder or the medium compound tyre, then they can go a bit longer than those on the softs in this first stint. Starting to get a bit cloudy over the circuit now. Potentially some rain on the horizon. We'll wait and see. But it is not looking too sunny in Silverstone for the time being. Out in front, let's have a look and see what's going on here, because Ginner then has been passed then by Ekwaz into Stowe corner. Then he's got the position that has the Alfa Romeo then up into the race lead once again and takes hold of that P1 position. Then here comes Ginner then on the attack then into Vale, but he can't quite make the move then as he stays behind the Alfa Romeo then for the remainder of lap 6 then. Good stuff indeed. Down the order, Sam B. Green is moving. He's got a 3-second penalty, unfortunately, moving. He's not having a great time out there. I think there was a connection issue then for the Aston Martin in the beginning of the race, which caused the jump start as well then, which is very bad news indeed. Then R2B is up into the top 10 then, but Sam B. Green is keeping him company. Blimey, into turn 1. I thought it was contact between the two of them there, but Sam B. Green got the car slowed down just in time. Red Bull then a vintage then into the remit as well of these two battling away, and Sirius Rushman and Sickles Mucker right behind this pair too. So there's a 5-way battle then for the final points pen position, as he stands then up in the lead. Ginner has retaken the position, no, but he hasn't, because Ekwaz then has dived back down the inside, then round Luffield corner, then Lucas Percy has got his nose down there as well, then into P2. Then has he got himself past the Mercedes? Yes, he has, and up into P2 now for Lucas Percy. Great move indeed, then opportunistic move indeed as well. Into top corner we go then, and it is status quo then, apart from not apart from the move that Lucas Percy just made, of course, but it was a good move indeed. And now can he put the pressure on Ekwaz as well? Then medium compound tyres then working very well. It looks like on that AlphaTauri then potentially better than the soft compound tyres on the Alfa Romeo and the Mercedes. We'll have to see what happens here as we go down towards Stowe corner then, as flying through goes Lucas Percy then into oh my goodness me, there's contact between Ginner then and the Alfa Romeo, and into P2 we go then for Ekwaz. He's holding the position then down the inside of Vale then, as Ginner is still there as well. Then there's going to be contact between who they're losing time to Lucas Percy here as well then, as we cross into club corner then, and there's all sorts of action behind this. Here comes Kiki as well getting involved as we go into the first couple of corners. as Equaz has got the place and still on Kiki then just about then, but that Mercedes sandwich has reappeared then as there's Vessia then. Oh my goodness me, Vessia is getting very aggressive, trying to make the move then on the Mercedes driver as well, then down the inside at turn 3 then, and he's got the position I think just about then. Good stuff indeed. They've lost 2 seconds in all of that then to Lucas Percy, who has powered on ahead now, and the Alpha Tauri looking very strong then at this stage of the race. Then here comes Kiki then trying to go down the inside of Vessia then into sector 2, but not quite then for the Mercedes driver. He has to sit behind for the time being, but of course, as I said earlier, he's on the hard compound tyres. He's going to be going longest out of everybody in this battle then, I think, in the first stint. So it's not all done and dusted just yet. Of course, strategy will unfold in others' favour. We'll have to wait and see which strategy is going to be the best then. But Vessia then, where has he gone? He's teleported then as Vessia. As Equaz got a 3-second penalty then going through into Cop's corner then. So unfortunately for Equaz, that is 3 warnings then added to his time. Track limits then have been awarded by the stewards, or by Codemasters really. Not anything I've done. So there we go. Down towards the Stowe corner once again. Here comes Vessia on the attack once again as well. And he's, like I said, he's been teleported about then, it looked like, into Cop's corner. And I did say there was a bit of a jumping around then, but it seems like it was Vessia then just solely at fault. Then not at fault, but his internet seems to be at fault. But there we go then. Farf now into the battle then in P6. Then he's got a penalty to his name. Same for New Zealand Camden in P7 as well. Coop is in this battle too. Down in P8. Then there's moves in the background between Sam B. Green and Sickers Muck. Then as we cross into lap 9 here. So far so good. Out in front. 2.8 seconds is the gap. Then Lucas Percy is going to be loving life now. After the battling between Equaz and Jinner. It has gone very much in his favour. Then Kaidel's had an issue then at Stowe corner again. Then unfortunately for the Alpine, not having a great time through Stowe corner. Then trying to get himself back underway then as well. Where's he go? Is he going back to the pits or is he going back onto the track? Then he's gone back onto the track then, has Kaidel, and got himself back underway then. Good stuff indeed. Then Equaz then has lost out then to Vessia as well. Then not quite sure if that was a teleportation glitch then or if it was an overtake, but we'll have to wait to see after the race, I think, because you completely missed it, of course, because that is just the talent that you've got in the commentary box here tonight then. Yeah, it looks like Vessia is lagging all over the place then, so he needs to sort that out for sure. But he is now all over the back of Jinner as well. Then this is going to get very spicy indeed as we go onto the hangar straight. Let's see what's going to happen here as Kamara Racer picks up a 3-second penalty. Unfortunately, Kamara then it's gone from bad to worse. Then it's like for Kamara then into P2 goes to McLaren, then ahead now on the Mercedes into Stowe corner. Then Kiki's got himself past Equaz as well. Then into P4 and the hard compound tyres I think now kicking on as well here as we've got more yellow flags then down the back of the order. What's happened to it is Kamara Racer off at the exit of Maggots and Beckett somehow. He has lost the car there and he's got himself back underway after correcting it. We've got Hungry Stars then coming through then into P17 then. Good stuff indeed. Yeah, unfortunately there's a few people having a few issues out there as well. The Kamara, what's going on here? Hungry Stars has let Kamara Racer back through then. I'm not quite sure if there was an illegal overtake then from Hungry Stars or something like that. Have we got rain? 5 second over Kamara Racer. Unfortunately, he's not having a great time out there. We've got, I think, Kamara Racer retired in the pit lane as well. Then, so he's not going to be taking any more part in this race, I should say. Then, as I thought we had some rain falling then on the screen. I'm not quite sure if that was just my eyes or if it is raining out on the circuit or not. But we'll have to wait and see for some confirmation here. But so far, it doesn't look like it. So maybe it was just my eyes deceiving me. But that's not the first time. It won't be the last time as well. As I get very old here in the commentary box in this race. That is as well, but also in real life. But there we go then. Here comes Sirius Russian then on the back of the Haas of R2B down to P12 now after battling away then with Sickers Muck then and Vince up in the top 10 as well. Vince doing a good job up there. Good stuff indeed. I left the session as well then. Unfortunately for Kamara, that it was not his night, put it that way. Then it was a very bad race, very bad opening few laps to the race. Then Jinner and Vessia then side by side then into the Stowe corner, and there's contact, and Vessia's gone off the circuit as well now. And blimey, what happened there? I'm not quite sure. Then into the pits in the background comes Coop, and I think Coop is very wise. Then he's getting out of this fight. Then he doesn't want to be involved in all this battling. And he's going to get himself off the soft compound tyres and onto something newer, as we completely missed the tyre compounds in for the first 11 laps. So we'll go and have a look and see what everybody is on for the time being. And everybody is out still on their tyres they started the race on, apart from, of course, Coop now, who is into the box then to get off those soft compound tyres and onto something a bit fresher. We will wait and see what he's going to be going on to. Then hard compounds then for the Williams car, then as he's going to be coming out the pit lane behind Hungry Styles, I believe. But there we go then. Equaz then has got himself back up into P4 then with that pit stop then for Coop as well then. But of course Vessia then having his issues with Gino through the Stowe corner, and like I said, with Vessia then seeming to be teleporting about a bit, I think it might be quite difficult to see where his car actually is then on the track. But fingers crossed then we have that sorted then for the rest of the race, that is. As into the next quarter we go then on to lap 11 as well. Now out in front, 3.8 seconds to gap to Lucas Percy, who is stormed off in the distance now as well then. On those medium compact tires, he's doing a great job then. Unfortunately, when using the cam, he picks up another penalty. I think that's 6 seconds penalty then from New Zealand cam. We'll have a look at penalties towards the end of the race, so we can decide who's going to be our driver of the day, of course. Out in front then, Kiki's got himself past his teammate and then up into P2 now, trying to chase down Lucas Percy. 3.8 seconds, the gap is 3.5 seconds, there we go, got it third time lucky. Is the gap then to the race leader of Lucas Percy, then Vessia, and Favre then switching places, then Favre then down to P6 then. Behind the McLaren for the time being. Onto lap 12 we go then, 40 laps remain at the end of this one, and yeah, there's definitely something going on there for Vessia then, because that car is not having a great time in terms of not glitching about then. So yeah, it seems to be Vessia's internet is having a few issues out there, but yeah, if somebody can get a message to him, that would be fantastic, but I'm not quite sure if anybody can at the moment then, because he's a bit preoccupied, I would imagine, at the moment, but there we go. But yeah, like I said, it's obviously if it's lagging about then that sort of thing, it can be a bit obviously you can drive the drivers around them, so hopefully that is not too serious. It might just be an issue then for myself on the stream, because it might be my internet, so it's not down to Vessia, of course. Soft compound tyres seem to be starting to drop off here. Just as I say, that Sickers Ruck has got himself past Vintage around the outside at Luffield then, and up into P9 then for the Aston Martin then. The highest running Aston Martin as it stands for him, I don't think is in the car, unfortunately, so hopefully he can get that sorted and get himself back in as quickly as possible then. Fast are locked in a battle here, but they're also right behind Vessia, then they're right behind Equaz, they're right behind Gino, they're in the fight for the podium places as it stands, and looking strong out there as well. Then 3.4 seconds in the gap, and it's come down in Kiki's favour then to the race leader, but it's not coming down quickly enough then, I don't think, for the Mercedes drivers' favour as it stands. Then it will be to it and throwing. I think, of course, those hard compound tyres will be able to go longer in this first stint than the medium compound tyres for the AlphaTauri of Lucas Percy. So currently he's quite comfortable in the race lead, but that might change as we get through the race itself. Into the pits comes Sam B. Green though, so Sam B. Green calling it a day then on the medium compound tyres. He is deciding that it is time to finish off on the yellow walk tyres, maybe go on to another set. We will wait and see what the Alfa Romeo will be doing. I'm familiar with seeing Sam B. Green in the AlphaTauri, of course. He has reserved in the 100% lead then in that car for quite a few times. Then hard compound tyres then going on the Alfa Romeo then this time, and trundling back out the pit lane now as well to get himself back into the race as well. I think he'll be out ahead of Moomin potentially. Oh no, maybe not then, because the long pit exit is it's quite a long pit lane, isn't it, this one? So he has got himself out behind Moomin, I think. But Moomin, I don't think, is in the car just yet then, so hopefully he can get himself back in very soon. Right then, out in front, 3.2 seconds to gap now. Gino picks up a penalty, unfortunately for Gino. That is getting costly indeed. Penalty starts to rack up down here, of course. You don't have such a fast pace through Cops Corner, through Maggots and Beckett's right here as well. Then you can easily track extend and get a warning then for track limits as well. But so far, only 5 drivers then have got a penalty to their name, unfortunately for Moomin. He's got a penalty, I don't think he's in the car as well, which is quite frustrating. But so far 4 or 5 drivers then have got penalties then in this race then, as we get to the quarter waypoint then of the Grand Prix. Down towards Vale and Club, then it's down under 3 seconds now, the gap between Kiki and Lucas Percy then, so that is what Kiki needs then. Can he get himself into the range then of that AlphaTauri then in the next few laps or so? We'll have to wait and see. Still going then is the soft runners then of Gino and Equaz, then they're carrying on in this race on those soft compound tyres. I thought Equaz almost lost the rear there, but he's got himself back underway. Then Hungry Styles has been passed by Coop into Stowe corner, then of course Coop on the fresh hard compound tyres and looking to get himself a charge now in this race then, to get himself back up the order then, where he was before he pitted, of course, that is. But here's the first, I think yes, he is the first then of the scheduled stops then for Coop. Coop then in the Williams then, he's pitted 3 laps ago. Then Sam B. Green, of course, has pitted onto the hard compound tyres as well then, but he has pitted 3 laps later, so he is only just out on his first lap on the hard compound tyres here. As it stands then in the background, we've got Vessia then Where is he? There he is. They're looking to line up a move then on Equaz, then into Cop's corner. I think Equaz has very wisely just let the McLaren go there because he doesn't want to get involved in any fighting and holding himself up then in this race as we go through into Maggots and Beckett's now as well. So far so good then in this race. Unfortunately for Kamara Racer, then a torrid start then has cost him his place in the race as well then. Into the pits comes Kydell then, so the other Alpine then, who's having a very difficult race at the moment as well, then coming into the box now to get himself onto a set of hard compound tyres and back underway. We'll have to wait and see if Lucas Percy might actually lap the Alpine here as well. Then it's going to be very tight indeed as he exits the pit lane now, but hopefully for Kydell's sake he can stay on the lead lap here and get himself out of the box then and back underway very quickly indeed, as there he is coming over the crest of the hill then back out onto the lap as well. Then there is Lucas Percy though in the background, so Kydell needs to get his skates on now as well to get himself back in this race and keep himself on the lead lap at least as well then. But of course he's now on fresher tyres than the AlphaTauri then of Lucas Percy, the race leader, so potentially can get himself powered away then from that AlphaTauri in the background. Then 2.7 seconds the gap between Kiki and Lucas Percy. That is coming down gradually. Jinner is being pulled along now by the DRS then of his teammate Besser has lost out the DRS then of Jinner, which is bad news for the McLaren then, bad news for Equaz, bad news for Farf, and bad news for New Zealand Cam as well then. So goodness me. So, it's getting we're getting through this race quite quickly, to be fair, which is nice for me because my voice is already starting to go. I've had a nice long day at work and now I need to have a lie down, I think. Is the best medicine, as somebody once said. I can't remember who it was, but it was probably like Mary Poppins or something like that. Who knows? But there we go. Then into Cop's corner we go. Then flying through now into Maggots and Beckett's. Let's see what Jinner is up to. Then Jinner now has got himself a nice gap then to the likes of the McLaren of Vesser then and the rivals behind as well. Then this is good news for Jinner then to try and hold on to that podium place potentially at the end of the Grand Prix here as well. Then we'll have to wait and see because there's still a long way to go in this Grand Prix, but anything can happen in Formula 1 and it usually does then, as Mr. Murray Walker once said then. 2.6 now the gap then to the race lead. The gap is coming down, like I was saying. Kiki's doing a good job then of trying to reel in that AlphaTauri of Lucas Percy. As it stands then, he is 2.8 seconds away, I should say, as we go through into turn 1 now as well then, as Lucas Percy then is almost caught up to Kydell. Then Kydell is of course now on fresh tyres. But AlphaTauri then of Lucas Percy is still doing a good job of trying to reel in that Alpine for the time being then, but of course he will have to stop very soon. Yellow flags then, yellow flags, it's for New Zealand Cam who's had an issue. Where is that then? New Zealand Cam's had an issue at turn 2 or turn 3 I think potentially, unfortunately for New Zealand Cam. He's got down to P10 then, he's lost out to Vintage, and Favre's had an issue as well then somewhere. Here's got himself past New Zealand Cam and up into the top 10 now for the as Vintage got a 5-second penalty for ignoring a yellow flag, and Favre has now gone back through, and Vintage, and I think somebody else has got a penalty then for ignoring yellow flags then, so I'm not quite sure. Some sort of incident happened then at turn 2 will be looked at after the race, I'm sure, because it seems like a few drivers have got their penalties as well to go with that as well then. So unfortunate stuff out there, but of course you have to adhere to the yellow flags as well. Which is what they're there for, really, isn't it? For a hazard on track, then 3.1 seconds the gap now. So Lucas Percy is now trying to kick on then on those medium compound tyres. Hungry Stars picks up a 3-second penalty, then going through into Luffield corner. Unfortunately, then for the Red Bull car, then there's more action in the background as New Zealand Cam, and New Zealand Cam is pointing the wrong way there, and he's trying to get himself back on the grey stuff. Then Vintage has got himself back past Farf, then into Stowe corner. New Zealand Cam, where is he? There he is. Then he's trying to get himself back underway. Then he's got RNG Ruck then and VT10 Ultra then for a fighting pack then as we go in towards Stowe corner now as well. Then late on the brakes then, oh my goodness me, I thought VT10 was going to go for a dive then on the AlphaTauri as contact between the two of them as we go in towards the Vale corner. Then down the inside goes New Zealand Cam, I should say. Trying to hold on to the place then as we go into club now as well then. Side by side almost then, as RNG Ruckman has had to take evasive action then to avoid the AlphaTauri. He's got himself ahead now of New Zealand Cam, and he's starting to struggle, I think, on those medium compound tyres as we go flying through into turn 2 and turn 3 as well here. But New Zealand Cam, I think, having a few issues out there, and unfortunately has unsettled the car, hasn't it? And that is costing his position. Then there's RNG Ruckman losing traction as well. They're trying to put the power down as early as possible. Kydell picks up a penalty then, but he's still on the lead lap then. If of course Lucas Percy has yet to pit, then Ginner picks up another penalty as well. Then Ginner is picking up the penalties out there as well. Then unfortunately for the Mercedes driver, and I think he's trying to earn the penalties for both of them there as well, because unfortunately it seems like Ginner's got all the penalties then. Keeping it clean out there as well as it stands, that is, which is good stuff indeed. And New Zealand Cam and RNG Ruck now switching places then into the first turn. Oh, going to go side by side, are we? Blimey, that's good stuff indeed, as the New Zealand Cam has got himself through, and again seems to be weaving about as well out there. So yeah, I'm not quite sure if it is a lobby connection or if it's just my connection. Potentially it's my connection to all the drivers out there that's causing them to weave about a bit tonight, but it's probably just me, and there's nothing to worry about. Good stuff. Hold on to P12 as it stands then. Round the outside goes the AlphaTauri of New Zealand Cam then, but now RNG Ruck then lining up a move then into the Vale chicane then, is he? Not quite then, as New Zealand Cam locks up again and is having a few issues trying to get himself past. There's RNG Ruck then on the traction and having a few issues as well then. We've got Coop then right behind us as we go on to lap 18 here. And my blimey, is Coop going to go for a move into turn 1? Not quite then. I think you thought better of it then. I think that was very wise indeed, because that could have been incredibly bad as well then. Out in front then, we've still got a 3-second gap then between Kiki and Lucas Percy. Then Lucas Percy now has fought off the attempts then of Kiki to get himself into that, underneath that 3-second window. Then currently just underneath as well as it stands then. Ginner is still soldiering on the soft compound tyres out there, which is no mean feat. Then Coop and VT10 Ultra then switching places. Then losing Cannon up into P12. Then Cooper's got himself past the McLaren of RNG Ruck then on those fresher hard compound tyres. They're 7 laps old now, to be fair, but he is of course on a much fresher set compared to those around him at the moment then. Samby Green then is past Hungry Styles then into the Luffield corner. Of course, Samby Green is also a driver who's already made a stop as well. Then Kydell is the third of the drivers in, three of the drivers in who have made a pit stop. Then but Ginner then is coming into the pit lane now. He's calling it a day. Moonman's picked up another penalty. Unfortunately, Moon not having a great time out there, as New Zealand Cam's had another issue then at the same corner. At the exit of Maggots and Beckett then as well. Then New Zealand Cam off the circuit again then in the AlphaTauri, not having a great time out there for sure. Into the pit comes Equaz as well. Then Ginner and Equaz then off the soft compound tyres onto the hard compounds then for the Mercedes. Then let's see what the Alfa Romeo is going to go on to. It's medium compound tyres then for Equaz. And away we go then into the next stint for those drivers as well. Then Coop, where will Coop and VT10 come out as well? Then there's an issue then for an AlphaTauri then at the exit of where is that? Exit of Stowe, isn't it? There it is. Exit of Stowe then for New Zealand Cam then is having another problem out there, unfortunately. Then Equaz is coming out the pit lane now as well. Then where will he be in terms of his teammate Samby Green? Samby Green just starting off lap 19 here, as New Zealand Cam has retired in the pit lane as well then. So unfortunately for New Zealand Cam and Kamara, then they both decided to pit and quit then on lap 19 of 52. Yeah, 52. I'm just looking at the number and thinking that's a big number there. But there we go then. Good stuff indeed. So now Kydell then with the hard compound tyres is pulling away then from Lucas Percy, which is good news for Kydell and trying to stay on the lead lap here. We'll wait and see then if there is any VSCs or safety cars, then potentially Kydell could get himself back in this Grand Prix. We'll wait and see. But so far so good then out on track then for the 18 drivers remaining then. Unfortunately there's 2 drivers who have given up on this Grand Prix already and couldn't even do the 50% race at this rate. But so far then 18 drivers still going then in this circuit as we go through onto lap 20 I should say, and then for Kiki, he's now 2.5 seconds behind Lucas Percy, trying to push on and catch up to the AlphaTauri driver down the back of the order. Then we've got RTB then he's on the back of his teammate, then getting some nice DRS tow then from the first Haas car. Yellow flags in sector 1. I think it's for New Zealand Cam to start getting out of the way, which is now a great car as well. But so there we go, the VT10 is in the pit lane, so VT10 calling it a day then on the medium compound tyres. So is RNG Ruck, then they're coming in at 18 lap old medium compound tyres, so that is interesting to see. Then Ginner has come out of the pit lane and he's done 1 lap then on the hard compound tyres. He's down to P11 as it stands, but of course there is still plenty of drivers, P9 all the way up to P1 then, who have not pitted yet in this Grand Prix. So that is, they will have to call it a day very soon then on those tyres. We will wait and see when that is. Then Hungry Styles soldiering on the hard compound tyres out there as well. Then he's come up to P14 as it stands as well then. Blimey, I'm getting out of breath. It was only lap 20, so that's good. So good stuff indeed. Hassel's doing a good job then, actually in P4. But RTB then is on the back of Farf and into Maggot and Beckett. Then can will there be some key orders then from the well, not good to Steiner anymore. I can't remember what the is then. Used to be good to Steiner, of course. If you didn't remember that, then where have we been then in Formula 1? But here comes Serious Mushroom then. Serious Mushroom on a serious charge then as well. Then into the Stowe corner then. Where is he? Sorry, my bottom wheel coming up. But he has not made a move then. And so is RTB. RTB stays behind his teammate then into the Vale chicane. Then RTB covering off the inside then. But that has compromised his exit as well then. Here comes the Mushroom. He's on the attack then into the start-finish straight, and there is Vintage in the background as well. Vintage has done 20 laps then on the soft compound tyres. That is pretty heroic indeed then, to say the least then, for Vintage, who is soldiered on out there in fantastic style in those soft compound tyres. He's up into the top 10 as well. Then RNG Ruck picks up a penalty, then Ginner has set the fastest lap of the race as well out there. And trying to catch up now to Coop. Coop, of course, has done 8 laps longer on his hard compound tyres. Has got the undercut, of course, on Ginner, but will have to stop earlier than the Mercedes car, I would imagine, unless he can try and struggle on to the end of the Grand Prix from here, which would be, well, it would be interesting to see if that is possible, is the question, because we are not sure if it is, to be honest. But we will find out, of course, if he does choose to do so. Then Serious Mushroom then all over the back. Then we've got a nice helicam shot as we go through onto the old start-finish straight here again. Once again, down towards top corner. Can car number 69 make a move then into Cop? Not quite, but he stays behind. He stays very close behind as well then, onto the back of the Haas pair and into Maggots and Vegas. Then lap 21 of 52 is commenced. Then we're on to the into the middle sector then of the Grand Prix here. Let's see what the Ferrari can do then onto the main straight, onto the back straight. I should say yellow flags then for a McLaren. And it's RNG Ruck then who's had an issue. What is happening to RNG Ruck then? He seems to be spinning those wheels up and spinning the car around as well. And at the same time then, that is not how you get your car restarted very quickly indeed. Then Lucas Percy and Vessia into the pit lane. Then they've called it a 21 laps then on the medium compound tyres, I should say then. RTB follows him in then, and so does Vintage. So there's pit stop activity then in the top 10 as it stands. Then Sick as Muck, Hassau and Kiki have all carried on. Then Favre carries on as well. Then so does Serious Mushroom. Then all on the hard compound tyres now, the top 5, which is why they are carrying on out there. They can go longer in this first stint compared to the rest. Then Ginner and Coop then coming up to the line. Then where is Ginner and Coop? Ginner and Coop, sorry, coming out. How are they going to come out in respect to the previous race leader? Then Lucas Percy then has lost out to the net lead, of course. He is right behind. He's on the soft compound tyres as well then, so interesting call then from the AlphaTauri drivers and AlphaTauri team. But he's come out right behind Ginner and right behind Coop then, of course, who have pitted earlier then for the hard compound tyres. So interesting calls there for the strategists, I should say. Ginner's got himself past Coop then, so I thought I'm sorry, I thought Coop was ahead, but Coop was behind me. But nonetheless, then Coop and Ginner then battling away. Then here comes Lucas Percy then on the soft compound tyres, and he has powered through then on the soft compound tyres, already up into P8 or P7, I should say. Then a net P2 on the grid as it stands, of course, with the top 5 yet to pit at the moment, that is. And now on the back of Ginner to go into Maggots and Beckett's here as well. Then on to lap 22 then. In the series, past Farf then up into P4 now for the Mushroom, and on the charge as well. Then here comes somebody else on the charge. Then it's Lucas Percy then trying to line up a move then for the race lead, then or net race lead, I should say, into Stowe corner. Then he's got the position, I think, round the outside. Then at Stowe, then he's up into P6. Of course, that's a net P1, but of course there's still stops to come. Then Farf is in the pit lane, so Farf calling the day then on the hard compound tyres. Only 22 laps done on those hard compound tyres compared to some who've done 21 laps on the mediums already. So that is interesting stuff indeed. Then Lucas Percy now has regained the net race lead. He's got 8 seconds to close the top 4, but we'll wait and see how quickly he can do that, of course. But we'll see what I'm pretty sure we'll see something quick indeed then from Lucas Percy on those soft compound tyres as well. Then Vessia has also pitted for the soft compound tyres. He's down in P9 as it stands. He's got 4 seconds to catch up to Equaz. But he's on the medium compound tyres. His Equaz then far coming out the pit lane now. Where will he come out in respect to the pack around him? Then he's lost out to his teammate. I think now RTB did make an undercut then by 1 lap onto the hard compound tyres. Then far coming out in P12 then on a fresh set of medium compounds as well. Then good stuff indeed. Well, it's nice and calm out here at the moment, which is fantastic to see. Yeah, that's brilliant stuff. Moomin and VT10 Ultra then. I think Moomin is a ghost then, so I'm not quite sure what is happening there. Yeah, it doesn't look like Moomin is in the session, unfortunately. Then yellow flags as RNG Ruck has retired. And retired on the track, I think, as well. Then virtual safety car. What has happened to RNG Ruck here? And Vessia has left the session as well. So Vessia, with his internet issues, is out of the session, hopefully get himself back in. A virtual safety car has been deployed, and I think that's for RNG Ruck retirement, but I'm not quite sure how he retired there, because he seemed to just be off the racing line, that is, and in the pit wall. Into the pits comes Sick as Muck and Serious Mushroom. So they are using the VSC then to their advantage. Vessia has rejoined. So hopefully he can get himself back in there. But the DRS has been enabled then, so the VSC is already gone then. That's a very quick VSC indeed then. As into the pits comes Mushroom then and Sick as Muck. They might have benefited very slightly from that VSC, but hardly enough then to get themselves back up the order. Then Sick as Muck has got himself onto a set of medium compound tyres and back underway. Then Sandy Green then will come through as RNG Ruck has left the session then. As out of the pits comes Serious Mushroom then into the race back. Where is he going to be then? That's the question. R2 beat then very, very close indeed. Then he's got himself through then up into P9 ahead of the Ferrari. And Mushroom was in the fight then with R2 beat. So that the VSC hasn't really helped Mushroom then or Sick as Muck then, because they were both in this fight prior to that VSC coming out anyway. So unfortunately 3 retirements in this race so far. Then that is bad news indeed. But so far that is well, we're at the halfway point almost as well then. So we've got if that carries on, then we're going to have 6 retirements. I think that was mathematics for you. But Coop then has been passed by Equaz. Then Coop then on the hard compound tyres and older hard compound tyres now as well, compared to the fresher medium compound tyres for the Alfa Romeo Equaz. Into Maggots and Beckett to go then, and Equaz now trying to fight on then for a good result here. Of course, he is the top 2 yet to pit. Then of course his rival of Kiki then is in P2 in the standings. Equaz of course in P3 in the standings. So we'll be looking to try and turn that form around. Then of course yet to pit then is the Mercedes driver of Kiki. So potentially we might where will he come out then in terms of the gap to the race lead, and then we'll have to work it out. Then 24 seconds, I think it's about 25 seconds, isn't it, the gap then to the race 25 seconds for the pit lane, that is. So as Hungry Stars then gets himself, it's Hungry Stars and Vintage with switching places. Then team orders down at Red Bull. Then of course much better cars then Vintage up into P13 and phasing down to points as well potentially as well in this Grand Prix. Good stuff indeed. So like I was saying then, even though he's got a penalty actually, that will be added onto his race time, but in terms of a net position, then potentially could get himself out in front of the race leader currently of Kiki, which would mean that will be helpful for his championship fight then with the Mercedes driver as well then for that second place then in the drivers standings. Of course Gordo wrapped up the title last week then in China, as R2 beat and Serious Mushroom then switched places then down towards sector 2 and now into P9 then for the Mushroom. Good stuff indeed. Mara Racer then unfortunately having a few struggles out there. That is why he's out of the race. Same for New Zealand Cam as well. Then RNG Ruck, we didn't see what happened then for RNG Ruck. He's no longer in the Grand Prix. Yeah, of course the VSC somehow, but we're not quite sure how. There we go. Then Vessia has left the session again. There's a Vessia is struggling with some sort of conditions out there. Unfortunately, then for the McLaren driver, he's got himself into P7, or back up into P7. He's got a nice gap then to back to Sound Green, so hopefully he can get himself back in the lobby quickly enough. As into the hangar straight we go. Then here comes the Mushroom then on the attack once again. Then he's lining them up then and making the move. Then is into P8 we go. Then Vessia's car I think has pitted him, which is a bit of a shame. Because I don't think that is what the strategy was then for the McLaren driver. Then Far picks up a penalty as well. Then into the pits there comes Sandy Green. So Sandy Green calling it down on the hard compound tyre, opting for a different set I think here. So that is interesting and stuff indeed. Then 10 seconds is the gap then between Mushroom and as Vessia's car is in the pit lane, isn't it? So I'm not quite sure what's happened there. Then Vessia's car is pitted for another set of soft compound tyres as well. Then very rude then from Codemasters, that is. As Vessia has rejoined him, but unfortunately he's going to be very angry with his car then, with his mechanics then for calling him in. Then Sandy Green onto the soft compound tyres here, and opting to follow in Vessia then onto the soft compound tyres as well. Then out in P16 he will be. Right then, Kiki is soldiering on out there. So Kiki is still yet to pit. One of the 2 drivers yet to pit as well. 3 drivers actually. Then 4 drivers, I should say. Then as we've got Hungry Styles and Moomin down the order as well. Then who've yet to pit as well. But here comes Kiki. Will he come into the box now, or will he carry on? Then is the question. And it looks like he is carrying on out there as well. Then so 12 seconds back then is Hassel. Hassel, of course, has got quite a few penalties that are added onto his race time at the end of this one, but with the track extensions. But he's still soldiering on out there as well. Then on the hard compound tyres, Lucas Percy catching up now in 2 seconds. The gap then between the Alfa Tauri and that man in P2 in the Ferrari. So far so good. Then R2 beaten Farb, then resuming their battle. Then they're involved with Mushroom once again as these 3 carry on their battle from before the stops. As we go on to lap 27 here as well. Then 27, I think we're over halfway, but so far we are over halfway. I think by 1 lap, which is good stuff indeed. Then we're nearly there. So I'm getting a bit tired if you couldn't tell. But there we go. So far so good then for the Haas pair then in the points 10 positions. Same for Serious Mushroom. Then he's soldiering on out there as well. Gina picks up another penalty. Unfortunately, Gina, we'll have a look at the penalty situation now. But that's it also as well. Unfortunately, we only have 9 seconds penalties for him. 5 for 6 seconds, then 6 for Moomin as well. Then so unfortunately, penalties starting to rack up here in Silverstone for all drivers as well, but not just those 3. But those 3 have got most of the penalties out there. Lucas Percy is now within DRS range, so we're looking at the wrong battle here, but we're now into DRS range then of the Ferrari of Hassel. Then of course is yet to pit. Then is the Ferrari. Same for the Mercedes in the race lead as well. Then so I think Lucas Percy will take back the race lead then, or net race lead that is at the moment. But he will take back the race lead then when those 2 do make their pit stops eventually. Then onto the back straight. Here comes the Alpha Tauri then on the attack, then down the inside towards Stowe corner. Then can he make the move? Then Moomin picks up another penalty. Unfortunately, Kiki is in the pit lane, so Lucas Percy reclaims the lead now. Up into penalty, but of course he will take the lead back then when he passes Kiki, who is currently in the box. Where is the Mercedes car? There he is. Then going into the pit garage. Then he's onto a set of medium compound tyres, and potentially can he get those medium compound tyres to the end of the Grand Prix from here? We will have to wait and see. Then Lucas Percy then takes back the lead. Then Hassel stays out. He's carrying on. Then Gina has got himself up into P3. Then Kiki, of course, is going to be coming out of the pit lane, but he's going to be behind his rivals, but on a fresher set of tyres as well. Then so it's not all done and dusted just yet. Then Coop takes over P5 as well. Then Kiki coming out ahead of Serious Mushroom then into P6 for the time being. Blimey, it's been pretty good so far. The first half of the race has been entertaining to say the least. Then R2 beat then all over the back of his teammate. Then the Haas pair then still working together, I think, then to pull each other along then in this race and secure a double points finish potentially as well. Then Vessia picks up the fastest lap of the race, so hopefully he's back in his car. I think he would be then based on that at lap time as well. Then so good stuff indeed. Is now trying to chase down VT10 Ultra then on those soft compound tyres, but unfortunately for some unknown reason Codemaster's AI car pitted him out from 3-lap-old soft compound tyres to another set of soft compound tyres, and kind of ruined the strategy there. I'm not quite sure what happened there. But yes, Codemaster's wondrous things then. Serious Mushroom has got himself a nice gap then over the Haas pair. Then he's got himself a 2.2 second gap then to Farth. R2 beat then is all over the back of his teammate. Then will there be some 2 more down at the Haas garage then in the next few laps or so? Then, or will there be some 2 more then on this lap here as we get ourselves onto the hangar straight with some DRS then for R2 beat. Then in the top of the order we've got pit stop then for Hassel then into the box then calling it a day then on the hard compound tyres then. Lucas Percy then takes over P1 then, well he's already in P1 sorry. Gina takes over P2. Equaz I think will take over P3 then, and we might have some more activity then as Hassel then onto a set of medium compound tyres and back underway, trundling back down the pit lane. Then where will he come out in relation to the rest of the order? It might be close between the Haas pair and potentially the Aston Martin of Sicker's Muck as well. Then as they come down the main start finish straight, that is, as they're Hassel then dropping down the order. Then here comes Sicker's Muck. Then he's got himself past the Ferrari as well. Then Hassel dropping down to P10 as it stands. Then good stuff indeed, and back out onto a fresh set of medium compound tyres. Then back powering on and powering away then. So I think there's going to be the likes of Kiki and Hassel potentially trying to get to the end of the race on these medium compound tyres. It might be a bit of a stretch, then we'll see. We have seen 21 laps, I think, on the set of mediums, and 27 laps then for Moomin as well, who's finally come into the box then to get off those tyres as well then. So that is good timing indeed. But they can do 28 laps, as we can see there from the Aston Martin of Moomin then. So that is promising stuff indeed. Kiki going a bit wide then. might be a bit of a warning then for doing that, but of course that is dished out by the game, that is, as Vessia has got himself back past VT10 Ultra, then up into P12 now for the McLaren, then trying to get himself back into the points pen positions here in this Grand Prix. Then Moomin has come out the pit lane now, down in P17, but on a fresh set of soft compound tyres. Let's see what he can do then. Coop has been passed by Kiki then, who's up into P4 now on the much fresher tyres. Then Coop, of course, did pit very early then onto a hard compound, and now he's dropped out behind Mercedes and Kiki, then he's trying to regain the race lead here as well. So we'll have to wait and see how that's going to unfold then for him. Still very gloomy then over the circuit here tonight, but it looks like the rain is holding off for the time being as we enter lap 30 of 52. Still 22 laps remaining at the end of this one. So that could be, it could play a nice factor in the end of this race if it starts to rain. We saw, I think it was Silver then that started to rain. Yeah, it was Silver, wasn't it? On Monday night we were racing in China, and then we saw rain with literally the last 2 laps of the race then, and it was just the right time to go on to intermediate compound tyres at the end of lap 25 and on to lap 26. A 2-3 lap sprint basically to the end on the intermediate compound tyres. There was a couple of drivers as well who held it out on the dry tyres in the wet conditions, which was very exciting stuff to see. But it did pay off. They still got some points, but didn't pay off as dramatically as they would have hoped as well. But yeah, it's very exciting stuff indeed then. But of course, I don't think the drivers will want that. And to be fair, I don't want that either, because I want to go to bed early. So there we are. So into Cop's corner we go then for the Haas pair. Again, still stuck side by side, these two, as we go through into Cop's corner now. So far so good out there then for the Haas drivers as well then. Of course, far for the penalties then could be in danger, but it's still penalties then for Sickers Muck and Hassel then behind. Vintage then is looking strong then in the Red Bull car, potentially to pick up some points here as well then for the Red Bull team as well into the latter stages of this Grand Prix. Hopefully Vintage can hold on to that, because that will be very good stuff indeed then for the Red Bull driver of course, and the Red Bull team, as we go through onto lap 31 then of 52 here. Now it's only the Haas pair that is actually in a battle at the moment. It's calmed down everywhere else at the moment. Of course, there's still strategies then to unfold then in this race. Then we'll have to wait and see. It's going to get very close towards the end of the race. Indeed, then when the strategies start to form up, then you have to wait and see who's on the best strategy, of course. But the Haas pair then putting on a show here in the Silverstone circuit for the time being, and they're very close together indeed. And Sickers Muck is catching up to the pack as well, his pair as well at this stage of the race. And he's getting himself into that range. You can see him in the background there in the Aston Martin. He's gaining, and he's going to be very close indeed in the next lap or so. Hassel then, of course, on much fresher medium compound tyres is going to be in the fight very soon as well, I'd imagine. And Vintage then can get himself in the fight too as well. Then Vessia now is under pressure from Vintage. Vintage is under pressure from Vessia as we go into Sector 2. Now let's see what the McLaren can do. Can he get himself back in the points pen positions? Of course, he has to use the soft compound tyres to his best abilities here as well. Soft compound tyres, like I was saying, for Lucas Percy as well. He's got a 6-second gap then. Moomin sets the fastest lap of the race. That's great news for Moomin, who is definitely on the pace out here as well at the moment. So that is looking good then for Moomin as well in the Aston Martin. Then Lucas Percy then is 6.2 seconds in the lead then as it stands. And RTB has got himself past his teammate of Favre. Into slow corner we go then. RTB now does take over the lead Haas role in that pairing. Of course, they've been battling away, or not battling away, but they've been side by side almost pretty much for the last 10 laps or so. It's been, and before the pit stops as well, to be fair. So it's been pretty epic from the Haas team, and I think maybe working together then to try and get some good points from the team as well then, and potentially a double point 10 finish as well. We wait to see then. Kiki is now within DRS range of Equaz. Then these two in the title, not in the title fight of course, because the title has been wrapped up. And VT10 Ultra is back in the pit lane. He's done 11 laps on the medium compound tyres and calling it a day here. Same for Sam B. Green, he's only done 5 laps. Sam B. Green is retired in the pit lane, and so Sam B. Green is not having a great time out there either, unfortunately, for some reason. As we've had 4 retirements then, and 3 of them have been in the pit lane, and 1 of them has been on the pit straight, to be fair, so that's great news indeed. But yeah, unfortunately some drivers then are not cut out for the challenge, it looks like then. Vessia then down the inside into P11 now, getting himself past Vintage and up into P11 now, down into Sector 2. And now trying to chase down the top 10 as it stands. Well, Vintage then looking strong though. Can he hold on in this race then, get himself back into contention as well? Then we'll have to wait and see. Kiki and Kiki and Equaz then battling away. Then have switched places then up into the podium places now for Kiki. And the head of the Alfa Romeo car. Then good stuff indeed on Kiki. and trying to chase down his teammate next, and potentially Lucas Percy then in the next few laps after that as well. Then we'll have to wait and see. Quite a sizable gap for the time being. But those soft compound tyres for Lucas Percy will start to drop off around this time as well now. We'll wait and see. Then Cooper's in the pit lane. He's on 21 laps in, 22 laps in on the hard compound tyres. So that is that then. Kydell is back in the pits as well then. So Kydell then is out. Where is he come out then? Unfortunately, I think for Kydell, he's been lapped now at this stage of the race. He will be very quick indeed on his medium compound tyres, but hopefully he can get himself back on the lead lap then very soon. As he's come out, I think, behind Serious Mushroom there. Yeah, Serious Mushroom then is on to the Wellington Straight. So yeah, unfortunately for Kydell, he's lapped by the top 5 as it stands, but there's still pit stops to come for the top 5 as well. So we'll have to wait and see if he can get himself back on the lead lap potentially. But there we go. Coop out of the pit lane now into P12. Then he's ahead of the Rebel of Hungry Styles. Hassau, sorry, has passed Sickers, not been up into P8 then in the Ferrari, and got himself into the fight now with the 2 Haas pair as well. So these 4 then are going to start to resume their battle then between the points penalties as well. Equaz picks up another penalty, unfortunately. Rekaz into Maggots and Beckett. He's not having a great time out there, unfortunately for him, which is a shame. But at the moment then, of course, he's on much older tyres. He'll have to pit again. Lucas Percy is into the pits then, so he's called it a day on the soft compound tyres already then. 12 laps done on the soft compound tyres for the race leader, or the previous race leader now. Gino then will take over the race lead then as he comes round at the final corner, completing lap 33. Then into the race lead goes the Mercedes driver. Then Gino is going to, Kiki's going to get himself past as well. Then Equaz is going to go through as well, and potentially Serious Mushroom will follow that train as well. Then Lucas Percy is gone to a medium compound tyre now, so he's gone medium, soft, medium. Then has the AlphaTauri driver. Will we find out if that is the best strategy here in Silverstone tonight? Then we'll find out in a 16 laps time or so. Goodness me, who knows? I can't do the maths. But there we go. Then out in P9 then for Lucas Percy. Then he's got to have quite a few drivers to fight through. Then if he's going to get himself back into the contention here. Lucas Percy. Then Fast has run Hassel off the road then, and that is not very good news for Fast then. As Sick as Muck has gone through as well, sneaking down the inside then of the Ferrari car, then up into P7 now. And here comes Lucas Percy then down the inside of both of them as well, then into Luffield. He's got the move done on both cars. Diving down the inside on the fresh medium compound tyres then, and he's flown past the Ferrari and the Aston Martin up into P7 now, onto the back of Favre here, as well as we go side by side down towards the top corner then. Here we go then, as Favre has had the heels, and he's on much older tyres than Lucas Percy of course, so I think he didn't have the grip then to fight into that corner as well. Then Lucas Percy now up into P6, then he's on a charge. I did say he's got quite a few people to pass, but it seems like he's taken that to heart then, and he's going for it on the first lap out of the pits as well. Then here he comes then on the attack then with R2 beat. Then of course the much fresher medium compound tyres, the DRS then will be in his favour as he goes for the inside then down towards Stowe corner. Then Hassau in the background has got himself back past Sickers Muck then into Stowe corner. Then he's all over the back now of Farf as well, then into Vale. As there's going to be a dive. There's a dive. Blimey, goodness me. Then Farf has been sent into Narnia. He's into the pit lane. Oh my goodness me. That was, I shouldn't laugh, but that was fantastic. Okay, that was interesting stuff indeed. I think Hassau is at fault for that, and effectively causing Farf to make a pit stop there as well. So yeah, I think that will definitely be reviewed after the Grand Prix. So yeah, well, I don't think there's any damage then for Favre. He has got himself onto a new set of tyres as well here, which is, I suppose, a positive in a way. But yeah, unfortunately, I don't think he was planning to come into the pits on that lap. And that is that then. RTB has been passed then by Hassau. Then his next rival is Sick as Muck. Then Favre has been passed then by Hungry Styles, who's coming out of the pit lane now. Is Favre then onto a fresh set of medium compound tyres. 34 laps then for Hungry Styles on the hard compound tyres. I don't think he's pitted yet actually. He has Hungry Styles, so you might want to think about coming into the box very soon. Just a suggestion out there. RTB then hold on then to Hassau. Then of course Hassau on the freshest medium compound tyres in the top 10 as it stands. So he is looking quite strong then on those medium compound tyres. Not actually. Lucas Percy is on the one lap holder medium compound tyres out there. He's got a 5-second gap then to Serious Mushroom then, who is trying to put on a charge then for the top 3 of the driver standings this season as well then, as in his own right. So Lucas Percy then has got to get himself past the Mushroom, then past Equaz, past Kiki and past Jinner again then to regain the top spot in this race then, as Sick as Muck then all over the back of R2 beat into the Vale and Club Chicane. Then Favre has got himself past Styles then into Maggots and Beckett as well now. Up into P12 now for Farf. Then he's got 11 seconds to get himself into the range of Coop then. Coop and Farf then could be flying at the end of this race, to be fair though. We'll have to wait and see. That might have actually been a benefit then to to Farf then in a way. Then at the end of this race we'll have to wait and see where he comes out then, but it was quite funny that so I'm very sorry, but you have to laugh at some of these things, don't you? I'm not sure Farf was laughing in the moment then, but potentially he might be laughing at the end of the race then as we go. Oh my goodness me, and sick as muck into the back of the Haas then. Can't just overtake by hitting the other driver out of the way like Hassel did. Unfortunately it is against the rules. Yeah, there we go then. Hassel then, sick as muck and R2 then are still soldiering on in their battle here, but I think sick as muck is getting more and more impatient then with that Haas car, and we'll have to try and make a move then onto the Haas straight in very soon after Maggots and Beckett then. Good stuff indeed, and we'll ride aboard this battle then as we go through into the Maggots and Beckett's complex. Both of them are sailing now very, very close together then in this fight as well then. Kiki all over the back of his teammate of Jinner then, potentially a role reversal here coming up very soon. Then here comes sick as muck then on the attack then, down the inside then into Stowe corner then, and up into P7 then for the Aston Martin driver. Good stuff indeed. Out in front then, Kiki is all over the back now of his teammate. Of course there's a different strategy here for both Jinner and for Kiki. We'll have to wait and see which strategy is going to be the best one, but at the moment then it looks like Kiki is in a stronger position than Jinner then on those hard compound tyres, and we'll wait and see then what the strategy is going to be like then as we wait for it to unfold then, won't we? So here comes Kiki then on the attack, then can go down the inside of the teammate, outside of his teammate, yes he can. And takes the race lead at the moment. Good stuff indeed. Equaz in P3 then has got Mushroom 5 seconds back. Then Lucas Percy then is 2 seconds back from Mushroom. He's really gaining now on the Ferrari, I should say, than in the AlphaTauri, and he is of course on he's 10 lap younger tyres than Sirius Mushroom. So you would expect that AlphaTauri to be flying at this stage as well, which it is. So that computes correctly as well. Good stuff indeed. Then R2B is still holding on to the back of Sickers, not going there 3 seconds off Hassel now as well. They've got much older tyres. 5 lap older tyres then in the case of Sick as Muck, then to the Ferrari in P6 as it stands. Then Vesio is back up into the top 10 as it stands as well. There are of course penalty permitted, that is. Of course the drivers then like the Coupe and the likes of Farf could get themselves back in the fight potentially as well. Then we'll have to wait and see what they do then in the latter stages. There could be more pit stops to come then. I think there will be more pit stops to come, especially for Jinner then and Equaz, as I think the medium compound tyres for Equaz won't get to the end. Potentially the same for Jinner as well on the hard compound. There might be a stop for Hungry Styles at some point. We'll have to wait and see, but he's still soldiering on out there. He's done 37 laps on the hard compound tyres, and we're doing a good job then out there. Is Hungry Styles then soldiering on those very worn hard compound tyres now as well. But so far so good then. Kydell is ahead of Sirius Mushroom, and he's got he's got the AlphaTauris, the Alfa Romeo then with Equaz, and the 2 Mercedes then ahead of him. But of course, potentially if they do have to make pit stops then at the end of this, towards the end of this race, he can get himself back on the lead lap here as well then. So it's not all done and dusted just yet then for Kydell. And in front now, Kiki has got himself over a 1 second gap then to his teammate there, so that is dealt with then for Kiki's point of view. Not the case though for AlphaTauri then of Lucas Percy then onto the old start finish straight. He's, oh my goodness, I thought they were going to. I thought Sirius Mushroom just went driving off the circuit then, but I think it was just getting out of the way then of the AlphaTauri then, who has flown through Copse Corner into P4 and now on the charge here as well. Then once again then he is flying on those medium compound tyres. Then is Lucas Percy then into Maggots and Beckett. And I think there's an Alpine in, I think, of Kydell, unfortunately, as Kydell is the only Alpine left in the race then after the Kamara race has retired. But he is still soldiering on out there as well. Here comes Sirius Mushroom though on the attack there down the inside. I thought he was going to go for a move then on Lucas Percy then, but he's just AlphaTauri potentially then. Yeah, I thought Sirius Mushroom would go for a nice lunge down there, but it was not the case then. Same for R2B, then he's too far back then to make the move on Sick as Muck. Then he has to slot in behind in P8 for the time being. Of course, penalty situation then is in his favour as well then, so he will gain that position back then at the end of the race if it holds out this way. But of course, if he stays within DRS, then that will be most beneficial for him as well. Then Hungry Styles is going to be Maggots and Beckett, and Hungry Styles then is starting to starting to face the fears then, I think, of the hard compound tyres. 38 laps now on those hard compounds, which is I think that's a pretty fantastic job indeed, to be fair, even if it is unfortunately not any time then. He is coming in the pit lane now then, I think, to call it a day then finally. 38 laps then on the hard compound, so that's what they can do. He's got a 5-second relative speed in the pit lane then, just to add to his misery, unfortunately, then for Hungry Stars as well then. A big shame there. But he has called it a day finally then on those hard compound tyres, which is good to see, to be fair, because I don't think he was going to be helping himself then in the rest of the race then if he stayed out then for much longer then. R2 then is within DRS range of Sick as Muck then for that P7 position. Vessia then is on the charge behind as well. Vessia he's trying to get himself into the range then of these two as well, but I think he might have to stop again. Those soft compound tyres we've seen haven't done too many more than 13, 15 laps, I think it was. We saw Vintage actually do 20 laps on them, but as Ekpaz is in the pit lane, so Ekpaz is calling it a day then on the medium compound tyres, then it's lap 40 has commenced then, and I think we've seen some more pit stop activity then for Hungry Stars going onto the soft compound tyres as well then, so potentially Ekpaz doing the same here after 21 laps on the medium compound. Vessia's got a 5-second motor of speeding in the pit lane. Unfortunately for Vessia, then he's calling it down on the soft compound tyres and gone too deep then on the brakes and into the pit lane. Unfortunately, that is very costly indeed for the McLaren. Sorry, there's the Alfa Romeo then of Ekpaz then coming out of the pit lane. He's on medium compound tyres though, so he is not opting for the softs yet. Vintage then will take away that P8 position then from the Alfa Romeo then as we go over the crest of the hill. Then Cooper's also running to P9 as well in the head of the Alfa Romeo here of Ekpaz as well into down to P10 then for Ekpaz as it stands then as we go into turns 3 and 4, and Farf then has got himself past Vessia. Of course, Vessia now pitted for the soft compound tyres coming out the pit lane now and down into P12 then, of course, but he's going to be very quick indeed in the latter stages of this race, so he might be able to get himself back into contention very quickly indeed as well. Kaido into the punch. Unfortunately, Kaido, it's not on his way tonight, but he is still soldiering on out there, which is good to see. Into Cop's corner we go. There's a bit of grass flying up over the screen then, but just Sick as Muck and R2 Beat flying through then at full pace, and into Maggots and Beckets they fly as well then. Let's see what Sick as Muck then and R2 Beat are going to do then. Where is Ekpaz going to fare in this fight as well then? Of course, on the much fresher medium compound tyres then. Could he have pulled off a master stroke here and gone on to the fresh tyres then at the right time? Then into the pits comes Serious Mushroom, and he's done 17 laps on the medium compound tyres. As we go into Stowe corner now as well then for R2B then. Where are we going to find the strategies then? Cooper and Ekpaz, battling away, passing each other then, passing Cooper and his Ekpaz, and up into P9 now. Serious Mushroom out of the box and back underway then, but I think he will come out. But he might come out behind these three here then, and Farf is going to be behind him as well potentially. Where will we see the Mushroom return then to the grid then out of the box, and he comes in. I think it's going to be ahead of Farf just about. Over the crest of the hill goes the Ferrari then, and back out in P10 as well then on fresh medium compound tyres. Good stuff indeed then. Vintage is next in line then for Ekpaz to line up and move then into the Wellington straight, and he's gone through. He's up into P7 then. DRS available then for the Alfa Romeos who fly away then down the straight. And Coop's going for a move as well, then down the inside into Sector 2 as well, then up into P8 then for the Williams car. Then Vintage, unfortunately, on the older tyres, losing out then to those two as they have pitted for much fresher tyres compared to the Red Bull at this stage. But of course, that could change, or it could change. Vintage has come in the pit lane. Will be coming to pit lane, no easy question. There's plenty of action then still to come, I think, in this race. There's plenty of drivers in the top 10 that could make a pit stop. They might try and soldier on out there. We'll have to wait and see. But at the moment, then I think we've got a bit of a mix then of what to do. What's going on in drivers' heads right now? Then are they going to be deciding to pit now, or are they going to try and soldier it out then and stay out then to the end of the Grand Prix? 10 laps remaining at the end of this lap as well. Then so that is going to be quite a tight call. Then if you do decide to make it, you have to make it now. And I think Ekpaz and the likes of Ekpaz, then the likes of Serious Mushroom, then have opted to go for the fresh rubber then in the last few laps here in this Grand Prix. Right then into the dying embers, or the twilight. I should call it twilight really, the Twilight Zone of the Grand Prix here. If you haven't watched Twilight, I think it's about vampires and robots or something. Vessier takes the fastest lap, then onto the fresh soft compound tyres, then in P12. Good stuff from Vessier, then soldiering on in this race. Potentially can get himself back in the range of the top 10 as well with that pace. But there we go then. R2B is just sticking to the back then of the Aston Martin of Sicker's Muck then. Sicker's Muck and R2B then on much older tyres. Can they get to the end of the Grand Prix? They're going to have to do 28 laps or so on their tyres as it stands. Potentially the hard compound could get that far. Of course, we've seen Styles do 38 laps on the hard compound, so it's not an issue. But will they be able to do it at quick pace is the other question, of course. Then those drivers then who have pitted for fresher tyres behind might be all over the back of them in the next few laps or so. Then into the pits comes a Aston Martin, I think it's moving then on the soft compound, or off the soft compound tyres then, calling it then on the soft compound. Then Hungry Styles takes back P14. So far so good out there then as well, then good stuff indeed. Then here we go then on to the last few laps, then on to 10 laps remaining I should say. Then 5 seconds to gap for the race leader of Kiki, then who's out good goal out there. Ginner is on the hard compound tyres, sorry, then he's got a lot of penalties and he's on very old hard compounds as well. Vessier has got himself past Favre, has he? Yes, he has, into Stowe corner, then up into P11 now for the McLaren, and soldiering on the soft compound tyres as well then as we go into the Vale corner as well. Then deep on the brakes then for Favre, but not knocking in the off the circuit this time. Well, it wasn't, it was Favre who got knocked off the circuit earlier, but there we go. So good stuff indeed. RTB then, like I said, still sticking with that Aston Martin of Sicker's Muck, and I think potentially the play then for RTB is trying to save the ERS, save the tyre life, and obviously use the DRS then to put himself along then on the back of that Aston Martin, and potentially could work out for him in his favour then if he can hold those tyres together. The likes of Ekvaz, the gap was over 8 seconds then on the previous lap, it's now down to 6.5. It is coming down at a rapid rate indeed then between the Alfa Romeo then and the Haas and Aston Martin pair ahead of him. As that is the Aston Martin of moving ahead of him there, not the Aston Martin of Sicker's Muck. And so unfortunately moving is not in the car, I don't think so. His car is not setting or not sending any lap times. It's not going to be classified in the Grand Prix, unfortunately then, unless he can get himself back in the race in the next few seconds or so, or minutes. So there we go then. But R2B then is still soldiering on out there on those hard compound tyres. The same for Sicker's Muck actually, to be fair. I'm not sure the rest of the top order are pitting in this stage. And I think that might be it then for the pit stop phases, which is going to be very interesting to see how they can hold it all together. Then, if they can hold it all together, is the question as well. But so far, it seems like I think it's too late now to try and make a pit stop. Even for the soft compound tyres, are not going to benefit too much then from the soft compound. You need to use them for 10 laps or more to be able to get the maximum benefit out of the soft compound tyres, like Vessier has done, like Hungry Styles and Movement have done as well. But yeah, so I'm not quite sure that they are going to be well at their best stage then. As we can see in the background, there is the Alfa Romeo then of Ekvaz as we go onto the Wellington Straight then into sector 2 then for R2B and Sicker's Muck then, and Ekvaz then is coming through then into Luffield corner as well. Now he's got Aston Martin then of I think of Moomin's AI car then in front of him. Then I think maybe just getting in the way a bit then is the Aston Martin, but it potentially could get him some DRS then through after Maggots and Beckett's, that is. But then Ekvaz then is trying to catch up to the back of the pack ahead of him, of course, which at the moment he is going to be catching up very quickly indeed. Then it's 4.6 seconds, 4.5 seconds to go through Maggots and Beckett's. Then time's tumbling down then for Ekvaz, but can he get himself into the range then of the podium places then within the next few laps, of course, as well. Then Lucas Percy then is trying to catch up to the Mercedes pair as well. Then he is currently, as we've got yellow flags, it's R2B. R2B's had an issue somewhere and he's off the circuit. Where is flying? He's gone straight on at Stowe. He's gone straight on at Stowe as R2B. Then he's gone flying off the circuit there. Has he got a puncture or something? I'm not quite sure what's happening to R2B. He's carrying on, man. Moomin sets the fastest lap of the race then. I'm not quite sure if he's in the car then, he's Moomin, but yeah, interesting stuff indeed. Yeah, we'll have to look at that after the race. But unfortunately for R2B, we didn't quite see what happened there. He hasn't got a puncture for sure, but he's had an issue somewhere at Stowe then. and he has gone off the circuit then, unfortunately for him. Sirius Rushman has carried on, then he's got himself into the range then of Vintage, and he's up into P8 now, Vintage, on much older medium compound tyres, and Sirius Rushman is going to be looking at the back of that Red Bull then and thinking, I want to see that Red Bull behind me rather than in front of me here. Onto the Wellington straight we go, then DRS enabled then for the Ferrari as he goes, flies down the inside, then he's got the move then before the braking zone and up into P8 then for Sirius Rushman. Good stuff indeed, a good overtake as well then, up into P8 then for the Ferrari. So then out in front, we'll have to start looking at the penalty situation as well, won't we? Because there is penalties galore then out in front. Then Gino's got 9 seconds and he will lose out to Lucas Percy. But I don't think he'll lose out to anybody else there. Hassel will lose out potentially to Sickers Muckman and to no, he won't lose out to Equaz. He's got 6 seconds as well. Coop will get himself back in contention with Equaz then, if he can stay within that 6-second window then. For the time being. So good stuff indeed then. Vintage then flying through onto the hangar straight, then he's got some DRS then to try and keep up with that Ferrari of Sirius Mushroom then as we go into Stowe corner. Then Mushroom trying to kick on now and get himself in contention then on those fresher medium compound tyres. Then he will start to gain, I think, on those ahead of him, apart from potentially Equaz and Lucas Percy, who are on fresh tyres as well. Everybody else has opted to stay out and try and get to the end of the Grand Prix here, which is going to be very interesting stuff indeed. And if they can hold it all together is the question. We will wait and see. We'll switch on to the tyre compound to see what everyone's on there. So that is what we've got then on the timing screens as it stands. And like I said, we've got some drivers then who are soldiering on out there on very old tyres. We've got some drivers who have pitted then a few laps to go then to go for a faster stint as well then. So we'll have to wait and see which is going to be the best then. Kydell and Styles battling away then. Kydell's off the circuit at Cops. Flying off the circuit then is the Alpine then, but he's come back on ahead of the Red Bull. Out in front, 6 seconds the gap then. Lucas Percy now within 1.4 seconds of the Mercedes of Gina. Then the second Mercedes then on 27 lap old hard compound tyres. That is going to be very old at the moment. Then he's going to be very struggling out there as well. You've got yellow flags. Yellow flags for a Ferrari. It's Hassel then. Hassel's had an issue then. Where is that? That's Maggots and Beckett then. He's trying to get the car pointed back in the right direction then. As Cooper's going to catch up to the back of the pack here. Oh, blimey, that was close indeed then to Cooper and Hassel then. And Hassel is struggling to get the car pointed in the right direction. Cooper's going to go for the move. And he's got the move up into P6 now as well then. And there's the other Ferrari then of Sirius Mushroom then right behind Hassel and his teammate as we go into Stowe corner now as well then. Hassel is on the charge once again then, but he's still got Coop then on the inside then. Cooper's still got the position I think then. Hassel then trying to hold it down the inside, then there's contact between the Ferrari and the Williams cars across the line onto lap 47, and Cooper's got himself ahead now into P6 then. Kydell and Styles then battling away, then the two Belgians battling away into sector 2. Styles now into P14 then. Gino and Lucas Percy then have got themselves into a DRS battle here as well. Equaz now is caught up to the back of Sick as Muck as we go down to the second now for Aston Martin then of I think that's moving AI car, which is not going to capitalize on this Grand Prix. That's lost out to his teammate forces on much pressure moving from Van Rijs, and now into P7 then for Mushroom. What was I saying? I can't remember what I was saying then. We've got Sickers, Muck and Equaz then. Here we go. Equaz then he's going to line up a move then on Sickers Muck already. Yes, he's got himself through then into Magnus and Beckett then up into P4, and now trying to charge down the top 3 of course if he can do that with the question. He's only got 4 laps remaining at the end of this one. As Sickers Muck has lost the car then, and blimey, that was very close indeed to him going into a wall, I think there. But yeah, he got the car under control just about in time. Sirius Mushroom then on the back of Coop, then trying to get himself past the Williams car, then up into P6 now. Sirius Mushroom then he's got himself through, and now into P6 as well. Then Coop then into a bit of a Ferrari sandwich as it stands, but still soldiering on out there as well. Good stuff indeed. Right then, lap 40, oh dear, we've got lap 48 commencing, I should say that, but we've got Gina and Lucas Percy then battling away then, as Lucas Percy then through Luffield corner then trying to take a different line then to the Mercedes car. Oh my goodness, I thought he was off the circuit then. He seems to be struggling out there with some sort of issue then as well then, but potentially we can get ourselves to the end of the Grand Prix here. But we've only got 4 laps remaining, so the Grand Prix after this one then, lap 48 then of 52. So we've got a good job there of the 15 drivers that have been doing this race, and doing a good job then of putting on a show here in Silverstone. Then here we come then down the hangar straight. Then can Lucas Persson make a move then in the slow corner into P2 on track? He's already got P2 ranked up in terms of the next race. Here we go then into the Vale chicane, all over the back end of that diffuser, then into club corner as well. Then you can see the extra pace then that Lucas Persson has got then in the AlphaTauri, then on those fresher tyres as well. He is storming on then in that car. Of course, he's half the tyre life then of Ginner's Mercedes then in that AlphaTauri then, as he goes shaping for my goodness me, that was a lunge and a half then, and Lucas Persson then has I don't think Ginner even changed his line there, and Lucas Persson went to the side follow. So I'm not quite sure what's happened there as we go through onto the Wellington Straight once again. Then I think potentially there's some team games here as well. Then because of course Ginner is holding up Lucas Persson then to help Kiki then claim the victory here in Silverstone of course as well. Then driver of the day pole is out. Kiki, Percy and Keith then are your candidates for driver of the day. Of course with the current system then is tied over with Hunt Charles and he's using their back again in the back of order. Then good stuff in the Belgian pair. As we go into the lap stages of this Grand Prix then on to lap 49 then Maggots and Beckett's coming up. Then here comes Lucas Persson then all over the back then of that Mercedes into the last complex of corners then into the hangar straight I should say, and DRS of course is going to be available then for Lucas Persson once again. Then here we go then down towards Stowe. Can the AlphaTauri get himself past then? And he can't, unfortunately. It's not long enough straight then for the AlphaTauri as we go on to the Vale chicane next as well. Then and he needs a lunge here as well. Then he's trying to shape for a move then, but he's a bit too far back then. He's almost made contact with the rear wheels then of Ginner as well. And Ginner's still holding back the AlphaTauri for the time being. Then into the start-finish rate. Lap 50 has commenced. Then yellow flags then I think for Kydell and Hungry Styles then have they've been carrying on their battle. For some reason my desk is starting to vibrate. So goodness knows what's going on there, and oh my goodness me, Lucas Persson then almost into the back of the Mercedes of Ginner then into turn 2, and I thought he was going to be losing his front wing there as well, but he thankfully managed to slow the car down somehow and regain his composure as well then. But that was very close indeed then. I thought those two were going to come together then, but of course technically Lucas Persson doesn't have to pass Ginner then. He knows that he can win this race then by just sitting behind the Mercedes car. The penalty situation then for Ginner will mean that he will be losing out the position I should say then to the AlphaTauri driver then of Lucas Persson, that is. Sorry, I'm captivated by this battle between Hungry Styles and Kydell for P14 on the grid, on the older I should say then, but it's been an epic battle between these two then on the last couple of laps or so, and good stuff indeed. And as Lucas Persson and Ginner have come together, and what has happened there as oh my goodness me. Oh dear, well that's going to be looked at after the race I'm sure, but not sure what happened there as they seem to be on the exit of Maggots and Beckett's then coming through then, and Ginner as Coop's got a 3-second penalty then for an issue somewhere, as Coop then had an issue into Fox corner I think there, but yeah, I'm not quite sure what happened between Ginner and Lucas Persson then, but they have resumed the race nonetheless, so at least there's that. But we're on to lap 51 now of 52. And yeah, I'm sure that will be looked at after the Grand Prix as well. Yellow flags then in the background. It's Alpine of Kydell is up at the final corner there. And Hungry Styles is going slowly as well. Then I'm not quite sure what's happening between those two as well. But fantastic. Seems like everyone has started to cause chaos then on the final couple of laps here in Silverstone. Which is brilliant stuff indeed then. Lap 51 then of 52. We've got 1.5 laps to go here. As Kiki, Percy and Coop then are your candidates for driver of the day. Then get your votes into the comment section as quickly as possible. Then we'll have a quick look, sorry I should have done this before, at the position changes as well then. So good stuff indeed. Into the pits comes Farf, then Farf is calling it late on the medium compound tyres. Unfortunately that forced pit stop didn't work for him from Hassel. Sirius Rushman's got himself past Sickers Muck, then Cooper's got himself past Hassel as well, and into sector 2, and has got himself up into P7 now as well. Then good stuff indeed. Then Sirius Rushman now up into P5. Can he charge down Equaz then and get himself into P4 potentially? We'll have to wait and see. Farf coming out the pit lane now is on soft compound tyres, I believe. And where is Kiki? Kiki could lap Farf then. That could be dangerous stuff indeed for Farf then, as we've got more yellow flags then for Kaido and Hungry Styles as well. So brilliant stuff indeed. Then on to the final lap of the race then for Kiki then. He has got himself onto the final lap finally, which is good stuff indeed. As Lucas Percy then and Jinna then are going to resume their battle, it looks like here. I'm not sure if if Lucas Percy realises that he doesn't need to worry about the penalty situation then for the Mercedes driver behind him. Coop and Hassel then switching places then into the chicane, into Stowe corner, I should say. Vess here has caught up to the back of the pack here. Trying to go down the outside then, turns to the inside for the next corner then, but Coop, he got caught up on the curb then, and that has cost him really 2 places then to the McLaren and the Ferrari. Jinna on the attack then into sector 2, then he hasn't got the pace then on with the DRS then to get himself into contention then in sector 2. Through Luffield corner as well now. Vessia and Hassel then backing away then side by side then through the next complex of corners. Then Vessia trying to cut back down the inside. There's contact with Coop as well. Then Coop then unsettling the McLaren as we go on to the Wellington straight then for the final time this time as well. Then here comes Vessia then on the attack down the inside of the say into sector 2. Then he's got the position up into P7 as it stands. And good stuff indeed then, it looks like. Fantastic. Let's see what Jinna and Lucas Percy are up to then. These two, again, on the exit of the Maggots and Beckett's corner where we saw them have their issues. And once again, then DRS then for Jinna then to go down to the Stowe corner. And oh my goodness me, it's close indeed then, and Jinna then has got himself through. Then Kiki has crossed the line then to claim victory here in Silverstone. A fantastic result once again, then back-to-back victories then for Mercedes and for Kiki then after last week as well. Then a really good result once again then for Kiki. Then Lucas Percy will cross the line in P2 side by side with Jinna then as well. Then I think 6,000ths of a second then was the finishing order then without the penalties of Jinna. Then he stays on the podium then does Jinna. Ekwaz then in P4. But I think with that spin then at the final corner, then Sirius Mushroom has promoted himself to P4 as well. Great result then from the Mushroom in the Ferrari. Then Ekwaz P5, then Sick as Muck P7. Vessia will cross the line in P8 then, but he's been demoted down the order then with the penalty situation. Then Vintage up into P7, a great result from Vintage as well then. Really good stuff indeed from the Red Bull car. Coop then P8, then Vessia P9. Hassel rounds off the top 10. R2B is only a 10th away from P10. Then he's P11. Then is the Haskar then far. Sorry, not far from Moomin is P14, but I don't think they'll be classified in this Grand Prix as Coop and Kaido and Hungry Styles and carrying on their shenanigans in the back of the field. Then I think they are just playfully fighting through this last couple of corners. In Hungry Styles penalty, and that is that. Then Ekwaz has left the session. He's down to P12, but I think he did finish in P5 in the end. So VT10 then P11, P12 I think, and then 5 P13 was the order. Oh, goodness me. It's a long race indeed. I am due my bed, I think. But fantastic stuff indeed. Thank you very much for joining us as well, for those that did. Unfortunately, there we go. So unfortunately, like I said, I think Moomin said he's got the fastest lap, but I don't think he was in the car, so he's not going to be classified in the Grand Prix, which means fastest lap will go to whoever set the next fastest lap. There is Kiki then on the top step of the podium, then celebrating in style. Then 2 wins in a row then after last week as well. Then for Kiki in the Mercedes. Then Alpha Tauri of Lucas Percy then is in P2 then tonight. A great race for him as well. Jinna then in P3 in the other Mercedes. So double podium for Mercedes of course here tonight in Silverstone as well. Then good stuff indeed. Driver of the day then is Kiki then in the comment section as well. And there is your classification then for the Silverstone Grand Prix. That is the penultimate race of the season, done and dusted as well here. We've only got one more race left then for the 100% League this season before we get on to the new game and find out what we're doing for that one. But I don't even know yet. So there we go. P2 then for Lucas Percy, then Jinna in P3, good stuff from him. Sirius Russian P4, Sick as Muck in, sorry, I think it was Ekwaz in P5, Sick as Muck P6, then Vintage P7, Coop P8, then Vessia P9, Hassau in P10, then R2B P11, then VT10 P12, Farf in P13, Moomin P14, but he's not going to be classified in this Grand Prix unfortunately because he wasn't in the car, so fastest lap will be changed. Kaido in P15, Hungry Styles P16, unfortunately it was Sam B, Green, RNG, Ruck, and New Zealand Cam and Kamara Racer. They did not finish this Grand Prix. God blimey. That was a good one. But thank you very much for joining us. Hopefully we'll get some quick interviews done as well. and we will get the interviews done as well then. So yeah, Moomin, if you're going to comment like that, don't worry about taking part, because it's not going to be not going to stand that way. So we've got I think we've got Lucas Percy joining us as well then. Good stuff indeed. We'll just get try and get the audio sorted. Oh God, somebody's on the screen. Welcome then to the interviews. I think we've got Lucas Percy then P2 in the end then. I don't know if you can hear me as well, but fantastic stuff from yourself. What a result then from AlphaTauri. Then you looked in control then in that in stages of that race. Then did you think the strategy was the right call in the end? Well, we can't hear him, so that's helpful. I'm not quite sure what's going on then with the interviews then, so yeah. I'm pretty sure I'm set up to well, it's all set up to listen to people, but it's not letting me listen to people, so fantastic. Well, that's turned my headset off. We're gonna just we're gonna can it, I'm afraid, but well done to the podium drivers then. Good stuff indeed, and we'll be back shortly. See you soon.